tinfoil hat. Oh, what the fuck are you guys even talking about?
Global controls will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them.
Welcome to Tinfoil Hat. We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Are you ready to get your mind blown?
Good morning, Swarm, and welcome to Tinfoil Hat. You know I am. You know I'm here too. I'm here too. Join me as always, Xavier Guerrero, and on the ones and two, Jay Nice, Juicy Johnny, Johnny Woodard, live from the Wise Wolf Gold and Silver Studios. That's right. Go to samtripoli.gold, use the promo code Tinfoil, and get in on the precious metals game for as little as $50 a month. It can set right to your house. Join the Wolf Pack. Now, guys, I am going to be in Tampa this weekend. Okay, Friday night, grab your tickets now. Cancun next weekend, Batavia, and the list goes on. And please go to chaostwins.com and grab a issue now. Issue number 2 is coming out. Speaking of Wise Wolf, Gold and Silver, we have the man, the myth, the legend live here in studio. We always love when the guests come in studio. Please welcome from Wise Wolf, Gold and Silver, Tony Arterburn. How are you, brother?
I'm doing great, brother. Thanks for having me back. I feel at home. It's the Wise Wolf Gold and Silver studio.
You do. Just do whatever you want. Kick him out of his seat. Run the show. He's here illegally, so, he doesn't have any rights.
Aren't you the host?
Yeah. Hey, don't get dangerous. But hey, man, welcome. Hey, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much again for sponsoring my special. You allowed me to be able to self-produce it, so I thank you for that. It's doing very well, and the feedback has been great. There's always going to be a couple negative comments, but we don't focus on that, and we focus on all the love. And you've kind of helped me with this. You doing that has kind of started a new model for a lot of comics to get sponsors to sponsor their special. So thank you for that, dude.
It's an absolute honor, and my team and I are really proud of it, that we put our name on that.
I love it, dude. Thank you.
Love what you do and your team and the shows and all the things that you do and your comedy. I mean, it's just refreshing in an age where there's so many cowards and people just gave up and they censored themselves. And I loved the special. My family loved it. So
thank you, dude. I could have used you last Friday night at the Improv as they were just staring at me. I'm just in this town. I only have 15 minutes, so it's so hard for me to slowly get into it. So within 2 minutes, I'm talking about satanic pedophiles, and they're just like, ah! I'm like, dude, are we in it? Are we in it?
What happened to softer family, Sam? I thought you were going that way.
I know, but when I want to talk about something, I want to talk. And it's only 15 minutes.
That's
I can have the bits that go 10 minutes. So,
that's who you are.
But I appreciate the kind words. We're out here battling. We're out here doing the best we can, and I appreciate it. Now, Tony, some of the listeners may not be familiar with you from your last appearance, your own podcast, all the stuff you're doing. So can you tell us a little bit about all that? Then we'll get into everything going on in the world right now.
Absolutely. I am a veteran of 3 foreign wars. I was a U.S. Army paratrooper and got out of the military, started several businesses until I found my niche, my calling, which is precious metals, and I love the history, I love the coins. I love the stream of history that we're in right now, where so much change going on, everything that I've built is able to help people, because we are in a monumental historical shift, like the likes of which you've never seen, and especially since 1971. There is so much change on the horizon, regardless of the election, anything that goes on with politics, and I love what we've built, and we sponsor shows like this. We have an amazing base of clientele that are loyal to us. Most of the people that buy from me, they come back, they upgrade. I have very few cancellations. It's really amazing because we went to the source. We're not the big guy, and we're not exactly the smallest guy, but we're somewhere in the middle, and I just love what we do. And, of course, I'm in alternative media as well. So
who do you do podcasts with?
Well, I've got a podcast with the legendary Don Jeffries, who wrote Hidden History, and Billy Ray Valentine of the Infinite Fringe podcast. We do a show every week called America Unplugged.
Nice.
And we've been doing that. We're on episode, I think, 166. We do it once a week. And then I have a radio show I've been doing for the last 7 years or so, which is called the Arterburn Radio Transmission. And a little bit different. I started out in conservative talk radio, and I since long ago crossed the Rubicon into the conspiracy theory of history. And that's fine. I like what I've been labeled. I have the mark somewhere, I'm sure. But I do that, and I have a podcast called Paratruther because I was a paratrooper. And Chris Graves, who you've had on, is one of the researchers I have there. And one of my good friends I grew up with, who's a scientist, we call him Mr. Anderson, like the Matrix.
Mr. Anderson.
Mm-hmm,
I love that. I love that. Well, you're doing a great work. Billy Ray has been on my show a couple times. We love him very much. He's always been he's always had his opinions on Trump, and I always appreciated them, even if maybe at the time I didn't agree with them at the time, and then later on I'm like, well, he was right.
Right.
He's been calling out a lot of stuff. What is your thoughts on the upcoming election? Are you black pilled? Do you have hope for the future? Like, what are your thoughts?
I will just say, for the record, Billy Ray Valentine, one of the most genuine human beings
He's great.
on the face of the earth.
He's
He's
great.
been my friend for many years in alternative media, and he loves the free exchange of ideas. We don't agree on everything, but I just talked to him today.
I think those are better shows.
Yes, we have differing opinions on some things, but he is right on so much. In the Cambridge Analytica aspect of the right wing and the controlled op, very, very smart guy. So love Billy.
Oh, I forgot about Cambridge Analytica.
Yes, Steve Bannon.
And did that play into this election, do you think?
I think it did. I mean, it's a continuation of that. And, of course, I find myself siding with so much of it, when they did the 5,000 data points and they said, well, people want to hear build that wall. I was one of them, build the wall, lock her up. These are, phrases that were gleaned out all that data mining, that's what they want to hear.
Oh, my God.
And we want to hear it.
Crazy. Right? Yeah. They just know how to talk to us.
Yes.
They know what we want to hear, and they can market right to us. But again, like you said, you do want the wall.
Well, at this point, I mean, I've put more nuanced on it. Walls keep people in too.
Well put.
When I ran for Congress 10 years ago, I thought, well, let's bring the troops from South Korea and put them in South Texas. And I'm not for a militarized zone, but I think we ought to have some sort of like Marshall Plan, like we did in Europe, especially because you have these, NGOs and these billionaires that are funding people and incentivizing. Then we have the welfare states, the magnets bringing them here. We need something that is humanitarian, a way to process people that are legitimately political refugees or need help, and all. We have to have that, but we have to have a rule of law too. I mean, what you have now is just absolute chaos, and it's on purpose to psychologically break you,
of course,
to make you look like a pitiful giant. You're supposed to be guarding the borders of Ukraine, but you can't guard the borders of your own country. I mean, it's just
demoralization.
Ridiculous. Demoralization is what it's all about. So I'm not black-pilled. But the left-right paradigm is strong in this country, and we see the tribalism of it, and I think it's unhealthy. Again, the two parties, the duopoly, are funded by the same people. You wonder, Kamala Harris ran left of the Communist Manifesto on her tax plan, but people never asked in the media, well, how is she getting funded by the world's richest people? Then she is. They love the tax plan. What does that tell you about the paradigm that we have set up in our own minds about, there's capitalism versus socialism? That's not the case. Well, you guys know that's the secret behind the conspiracy theory of history, is that it's mostly a non-organic, self-funding snake eating its own tail.
100%,
like that's what we're inside.
All of it.
So.
And again, I've said this on the show. It's just, she was the perfect candidate to run against Trump again. Just like John, what's his face again?
McCain.
John McCain against Obama. You couldn't have picked a better person for Obama, a charismatic, black, closeted gay man, to run against an old, crotchety, angry white guy that everyone was over. He reminded everybody, he looks like Dick Cheney, acts like Dick Cheney. Everyone was over Dick Cheney. Just walk him right into the White House.
Nobody that knew anything about politics thought John McCain would win in 2008. Nobody.
Yeah.
And it's just the fall guy. And, of course, he was on the heels of, and, of course, Barack Obama ran on ending the wars. He did not, but that's what he ran on. And
He
people were
escalated them.
sick and tired of the Iraq War, which I was a part of, and winding down Afghanistan. And John McCain, what he run? He was running on the surge, and we got to do. Remember the Beach Boys parody about bomb Iran. Remember that? That's what I mean. This is a warmonger that you up against a so-called peace candidate. I mean, and that was more slick, and he could read a teleprompter a lot better than John McCain. It was just a setup, absolutely.
Can I ask you, Tony, really quickly? Now? I've heard it said that, and I believe me, this is no defense of John McCain. John McCain is a warmonger, like you said, and probably my least favorite Republican candidate of the last 20 years. Probably,
But
I mean, they're contenders, sure, but. Was he right about, because he had always been the one to say from the very beginning that they could not win that war without a massive escalation of troops over there. Now, would you say that they were sabotaged and undercut, and they could have done the job with what they had?
what do you mean by what war?
Iraq.
Like, could that have been done without just a massive inflow? Like he always said, we'd have to be there 100 years to win that war. He'd said
That's
it from
the way
beginning.
he thought. It's the way.
Do you believe that though? Do you think he was right? Like, or could it have been won in any sense that we would identify as winning?
I think it's very similar to the Matthew Broderick film War Games, with the only way to win is not to play. You cannot win that war. It's an unwinnable war. Now, you can stabilize it, you can control it, but the Middle East, in a lot of ways, and I lived there and fought in wars there, the Middle East it disguises itself as a scepter. Like, you'd be a king, you pick up the scepter, you rule, but it's a serpent and it bites you. And that's the way. I wrote that years ago in a commentary on Syria, and it comes back to me anytime I think about, can you make it work there? And can you build something? No. The answer is no. You can make short-term damage. You can certainly topple an army, but you don't belong there. And the British learned it. I mean, Alexander the Great learned it. Everybody learns it eventually. You don't rule. It's an entity unto itself. And John McCain, he coined the term rogue state rollback. That's what they were. That was the 7 countries in 5 years. Wesley Clark, 9/12/2001.
Yeah.
He was part of that. It's just his viewpoint was that we botched it. Rumsfeld thought it was 50,000 troops we could hold it. I was part of that. And he's like, well, we'll just pull I remember when we got to Mosul the day that the Republican Guard fell, and we took over their barracks. And I was following. We had the tanks there. We had the Abrams tanks. I thought, thank God the tanks are here. And then they rolled out all the tanks. They left the tanks. They put all the heavy equipment, started rolling that out. And I said, this is really stupid. And of course, that's when 6 months later is when the real insurgency had time for. We were getting people from Afghanistan, the Mujahideen, Saddam loyalists, and then people pouring in from Syria. They were coming from all over to fight the jihad, and of course they were funded by intelligence agencies and other things.
Oh, that gets into the whole real question is, I mean, if you're a warmonger, nothing gets your nipples harder than the thought of a 100-year war. The Vietnam was not about winning it. It was about, first of all, taking over the poppy fields. Nobody talks about that. We all talk about that in Afghanistan. Nobody talks about that in Vietnam, that we just wanted their poppy fields, and that all the rules of war was to extend the war. So could it be one? Well, I personally would say it was never meant to be one. It was meant to extend it and cash these checks constantly for these military industrial complex companies who basically run our government.
At what level do you think that's decided? Because we talked about a couple weeks ago in Broken Sim, that McNamara documentary, Fog of War.
Yes.
And if you believe him, if you take the things he says at face value, then he clearly wasn't in on what you just described. He thought that he was doing the right thing and they were trying to win that war. Do you believe him when he says that? And then what does that imply about where those decisions are made? And I'm asking anybody.
For me personally, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on it, that was a different time in government, right? And we were just coming off the JFK assassination, right?
Yeah. McNamara was Secretary of Defense for JFK, and I believe before that he was in the private sector. He was CEO of Ford Motor Company, I believe.
So, I mean, it could be a different time where maybe we were just starting to see this kind of Nazi regime to take over the government. So maybe it could be that they were naive enough to believe that. I could be wrong. I do think there was a time when, maybe the corruption wasn't as thick and they had to slow roll it out because people had a little bit more integrity back then or a little more focus. There weren't TikTok and a million different things going on that you were focusing on all these other things. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that they misjudged the grand chessboard, but in a way, people like McNamara were useful tools for the military-industrial complex.
Yeah.
I mean, he was very much a statistician, like Rumsfeldian.
Totally.
They are like the same person. Like if you watch the same guy who did the documentary on McNamara did one on Rumsfeld.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen
that?
that?
Oh, absolutely. It's incredible. Yeah.
But Rumsfeld had a lot less depth. I thought, even
I agree. Yeah, he's less introspective. Yeah.
Very much.
You don't think Rumsfeld is one of these lizards?
Well,
maybe not literally, but
I don't even know if he's smart enough to be a lizard.
I think they just use certain people.
Yeah.
Again, Rumsfeld brought you aspartame. The reason that you get it was putting cancer into laboratory animals, and he said, "Well, thank God they're not laboratory animals. Let's put it in the diet soda." So. He's one of the first people to really break through that line. But he was in, I watched that movie Vice with Christian Bale where he plays Dick Cheney, the Rumsfeld character. Steve Carell plays Rumsfeld. I thought he captured it really well.
Very well. Yeah.
Just that he's just kind of, and there's a great scene in there in this line of logic where the Dick Cheney character asks Rumsfeld, he goes, "What do we believe?" And it makes Rumsfeld laugh, like just burst out laughing. What do we believe? It's just so absurd to him. So they're not really that it's the absence of ideology in them that I think that makes them even more dangerous.
Manipulable.
It's more like they seek power for its own sake. Like the thing in and of itself for them is the job. Whereas even everybody in this room would believe something. We would want a certain outcome. I don't know that,
when he gives the speech on the trillions of dollars missing, do you think he legit is like giving a real press conference that he doesn't have any clue what's happening in the next day?
Now that I do not believe. I do believe he knew exactly where it was.
Okay.
That's my personal opinion. I think that some level, there has to be some complicit behavior on behalf of those who appear to rule. But I don't think that he was making calling all the shots on something like 9/11. If that's what, again, if we really drill down, I don't believe that. But somebody like McNamara too. I mean, you watch the documentaries. He's talking about meeting the head of the Vietnamese government, and they're saying, "Why did you think that you could come in here and our mortal enemy is the Chinese? You thought the Chinese were going to link up with us and create a hegemonic, dominant communist state?"
I remember hearing that for the first time, and it blew my mind. I go, "Oh, dude!"
It sounds like it blew his mind.
Why would it? But why would it? Because why are you so uncurious to history?
Yeah,
it's just it's an absolute failing on the behalf of not only our ruling class has an absence in historical background. They really don't know what's going on. Like if the media right now knew, I mean, I'm an amateur historian. I like geopolitics. I studied the Cold War and things. I go back and look at what we're doing now. Like the British-made and American-made missiles that are being authorized by both governments, fired out of Ukraine into Russian sovereign territory is absolutely insane. That's something we would have never done. That's never been done where a sovereign state that held nuclear weapons was attacked by another indirectly, but from another sovereign state.
But you don't find that could, and I'm not pushing back, I'm just asking in honesty. You don't think that's purposeful? Like it's done to kick off World War III?
It's meant to, I think, continue to escalate, where even the next administration possibly wouldn't have the ability to stop it.
That's what I think it is.
Domino effects of things that have to go on in retaliation for this, the way that like the DEFCON, the defense condition, it has to be raised. We do it ourselves. And so I look at that and I just think if these people that are doing commentary right now, if they knew anything, they would be absolutely alarmed. That's something that's never happened. We're in completely uncharted waters right now.
And there just seems to be nobody on a national level, meaning like within these legacy media, that is pushing back on any of this. It only seems to be even Piers Morgan, who seems to be relegated to a YouTube show, right?
Yeah, it's like it airs in Australia and on YouTube, basically. That's it. Yeah.
So even that is in America isn't even a legacy show, which is why he's allowed to talk about everything he talks about. You know, it's like
except a few things which he had to censor a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Oh, because he's threatening with getting sued, right?
Yeah.
But even what's the name of the Israeli newspaper? Hertza.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
HAATZ. I signed up for a year-long subscription to them because they're the only ones out there telling the truth. Like they're out there like, and Netanyahu's trying to nip Haaretz.
Yeah, it's spelled HAARETZ. I don't know how to say it,
but it's like, who's pushing back on this on a national level to the point where you're like you got to know what's coming. And it's just absolutely insanity to me that they want World War III.
They do.
And it's all money grab. Or is it a biblical stuff? I don't even know. It's
all of it. All the above.
Lindsey Graham, we should, if this World War III goes out, we should storm the Capitol and throw him right into the middle of this fucking bullshit.
Strap him to a
rocket,
rocket,
and his
dude.
Queenie ass. He gets so queenie when he starts talking about war.
He's very precious.
He's just like, we just got to nuke them.
Those high school bullies that bullied him have cost America so many lives. I mean, you really can't overestimate, because I guarantee you he got pushed, and it's just revenge for high school.
I just think they've allowed him to be the debaucherous person he wants to be behind closed doors. They fed him everything the demon needs to eat.
His soul is terrifying. I mean, you can just read the fear in that man. That is fear. That's what fear looks like, ladies and gentlemen. That's the essence of it, and it creates death. I mean, he's been espousing just massive military operations my entire life. I remember the Syrian conflict, and he was running for president. And he said, "We got to put 200,000 troops in, or they're going to kill us all." Like he thought they were. I mean, I go, in what way are they going to get here and project power? What are you on? And again, is it about money? Is it about power? Or is it something I think it's deeper. I think there's something else flowing through the reality right now. These people are this is their moment, though.
All right, real quick, I want to take a moment to recognize an American company doing patriotic work, helping humanity, and that is Blue Chew! That's right. We got a depopulation problem. The only way we're going to get it is to fuck our way out, okay? Right? So, guys, stop pulling out and get hard with Blue Chew. Let me tell you about this American company that are saving humanity. Let me tell you about Blue Chew. Listen, you got to get rock hard for the future, and the only way we can do that is Blue Chew. Blue Chew is an online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but for a fraction of the cost. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com. Consult with one of their online medical providers, and once you're approved, you will get your prescription within days. Blue Chew tablets are made in the USA, and prepared and shipped directly to your door. The best part, it's all done online. That means no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Cannot stand that. Thank you, Blue Chew. You take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever the opportunity arises, okay? Blue Chew is for Americans. Blue Chew wants to make men rock hard. They told me, that's our mission. That's the mission, okay? They will not stop until every man is bricked up like a brick shit house, okay? Till every tent is pitched. Till every rod is raised. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. And with this we got a special deal for our listeners. This is how special you guys are and your junk is, okay? We love your junk here on Tinfoil Hat. We love how rock hard you get with Blue Chew, so we're going to do something special for you, okay? This is a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use the promo code Tinfoil at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com. Promo code Tinfoil to receive your first month free. BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. We thank Blue Chew for saving humanity and sponsoring this show.
Okay, you guys say World War III is going to happen, right? And this one I think sounds real where nukes aren't real. Because if World War III is real and they want it to happen, that means they die too. I mean, what's the
that
solution
is the
to it?
interesting thing.
I don't think
What's
they
the
want that.
solution? Like, I mean, if we go to World War III, we all know we die, right? The nuke here, nuke there, we're done.
I don't think they want.
But
World War III.
dude, I mean, so we were just talking in between the show about the Fox News lady who died. She got a heart attack live on air, and now turbo cancer got her. So it's like bang bang, right? So you go take a look at the lady who worked at YouTube, who was just straight up censoring any vaccine hesitancy stuff, and then she dies of turbo cancer. So it's like they don't care. I mean, they must not really care. They must really just be like, these are your marching orders. And that's the question. Do you think Lindsey Graham is generally in fear of Syrians coming here? Or is he told, tell them they're going to come here. If we don't stop them there, they're going to come here. And we need to have troops over there. And you need to push that because we have this video of you doing some unholy shit.
It's probably a combination of a lot of things. But you know, I'm wearing the sign and the seal of Alexander the Great. This is the Vergina sun.
I love that.
It's kind of like the alchemical symbol for gold, because the sun is gold and the silver is the moon. But it reminds me of Alexander the Great. They would sacrifice to the god Phobos, which is the god of fear. That's what they would do before they went into battle. So it's something along those lines. It's very spiritual, in my opinion. There's something running. Maybe they don't even understand. But if you read stuff like Barbara Tuchman wrote a book. JFK was actually reading it during the Cuban Missile Crisis. It's called The Guns of August. It was about the lead up to World War I. And, you know, those militaries, like they had the von Schlieffen plan, which was drawn up by Germany for years and years and then rewritten. Like, we go through Belgium. This is how we topple France. We'll put everything on the rail lines. Like, they were drawing up the battle plans. France had a battle plan. All these treaties that were all built in like tripwires. And so once the Archduke Ferdinand was assassinated, and then, of course, there was Austria and Serbia, and they started going at the alliances kicked in, and everything fell like a domino. And if you actually look into the history, the Kaiser, who was head of Germany, he tried to stop it. And he's like on the phone, he's on the he's trying to get people to stop, and he's crying because he can't stop it. He knows what's coming. And these statesmen, once they and by the way, those statesmen were 100 times smarter than the ones we have now. They were classically trained, could speak several languages, understood about realpolitik, all this stuff. I don't even know the modern diplomats knew what I just said. Yeah. But anyway, the Kaiser just broke down, and he was just bawling like he couldn't stop the war. I don't know. In my heart, I think they're bloodthirsty in so many ways. I think because there's been no consequence for their being so averse for war. But there always is. There's always a consequence for For
what was the name
war.
of the book?
It's called The Guns of August. It was written by a woman named Barbara Tuchman. Very excellent, because it talks about all the, that's World War I was really when we went off the gold standard. The dynasties, the monarchies started to fall. But those were bankers' wars, Sam. I mean, that kind of goes back to the Carnegies. About 1910, they had the first foundation set up by the robber barons, and they said, well, how do we fundamentally change society? And they said, well, you need a war. And then so their next question was, well, how do we get into one? And that's why you got the Federal Reserve. And of course, Federal Reserve was Christmas 1913, and then by the Guns of August is 1914.
Another book recommended by Elon Musk, The Guns of August.
Yeah, I read that 20 plus years ago. It's a great book.
Yeah, it's just like, how deep does a rabbit hole go? Like, for every layer you think, there's a basement below that, right? Of another layer, then another layer, then another layer, and it just gets crazy to me. It's just so deep. So I want to get into some stuff with you, Johnny. What was the video I sent you on Twitter? I emailed it.
I have the video of. Well, is this? I mean, you asked me to pull.
Oh, this is it. Did you see this? So this CEO of this insurance company.
Yeah, United Healthcare.
United Healthcare is walking, and let's see this, dude.
It's disturbing footage.
And dude, that person.
Wait,
runs.
why is he? What?
He unloaded on
jamming?
that.
He's jamming, right?
I think it jammed, but he got like 3 in them before that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's watch that. Okay, he's got a suppressor.
So what
on-
we're watching
on a
right
pistol.
now is the CEO of this healthcare is walking to a
Busy sidewalk.
conference where he's about to give a speech, and out of nowhere a guy walks up and just puts it in him, and a lot of people are talking about, was this a hit?
Black hoodie. It looks like a white guy, white hands. He's got a pistol, suppressed pistol.
One,
It must
Two.
jam, right? Why would he be
3.
racking the slide like that?
Right
Just
there.
trying
It
to
jammed right there on
trying
his
to-
fourth
Well, I
shot.
think it must have jammed before that though, right? Because it's either striker fire. It looks like a Glock, right? Is that maybe? It's hard to tell, but it wouldn't be where he wouldn't need to rack the slider. It's either double action, single action, or a striker fire. Then, see, why is he doing that? Wouldn't you? Don't you agree, Tony? Like, why would he?
I'm just having flashbacks. I bet it's a Beretta M9 because I had to use one of those.
Military issue, yeah.
So it would jam.
Well, that's what they're getting into. Is this guy a hit? Who is this guy?
But it would make you think that it jammed from the very first shot, right? The way he's like right there. He shouldn't have a need to do that if it's a double action, single action like a Beretta.
Something jammed, but that is a hit. That's not.
Yeah.
What's the goal there?
Yeah,
Random.
because I mean, obviously he would have shot the other person if it was
Yeah.
some mass shooter type
not.
crazy person. He would have shot the person that was right next to that person.
So he gets on a bike and he bikes away and he's gone. Now,
Totally cool though. Totally cool with it. I mean, this guy's not a nervous man. Look at this. This is a man who's.
I wasn't there, but do you remember that one time someone got
he looks back to see what's going on.
That's premeditated, thought out, and he'd already decided that's what he's going to do.
Horrifying.
Sam, I wasn't there, but Sam's heard it. Do you remember when they killed that person at the Comedy Store and everyone said it was a hit job because the guy knew exactly how to go? He get in there, shot him, and then he had a car and then just dipped out?
Yeah.
It seemed like that. This guy looked like,
The guy used the exact same getaway plan.
God,
Boom.
that's horrible.
He looks back. So that guy had to be into something, that somebody wanted him
Ugh,
dead.
poor guy.
So he's supposedly getting investigated too on some.
Well, yeah, and it was an investor meeting, right? Is that what was about to happen? And he had a speech scheduled at the investor meeting, which I know Howie, our closest link to Wall Street, suggests that he was going to say something maybe that they didn't want, and that they had a guy flown in to make sure he didn't say anything.
Health insurance? What kind of insurance was it?
I believe so. Yeah. Let me see. United Healthcare.
which,
That
I
looks
mean,
personal.
it reminds me like a lot when like the
Health insurance. Yeah.
It's like when crypto whales die. When a random crypto whale die, you're like, oh shit, no way.
Oh yeah, well we had a whole
whale.
bunch of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
They're
Crypto,
just- crypto whales.
Yeah.
They just go missing.
Yeah, so it's really nuts to be that brazen,
Brian Thompson brazen is the word. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
and it's like you have to be, and just the shot. What makes you think it's a hit? I think it's how he walks off.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you're more into that world obviously than I am, but like we see people like crazy people like. I mean, war and stuff like that. Not that you're assassinating people, but but it's like, but it's like, when we see people drive by, bang, and then they run off crazy.
Yeah. No, but he's not holding his gun like a thug. Like turning his gun. You see guys hold their gun sideways like idiots.
Bang.
He's got
bang,
two
bang.
hands on it.
I mean, that's a long silencer too.
Yeah.
And it looked like he needed to get enough shots for him to be dead for him to get paid. You saw he
Oh
kind
no,
of
yeah, you're right. He was making sure the
he was
job was
making
done.
sure
yeah.
the guy, I need to get paid because if this fool lives, I'm not getting all of it.
Bro, you got. I mean, like if you're the I don't know how soon that video comes out, but I mean, like if you got an assassination on that, you got to shut down an airport, right? You got to be like, no flights right now.
Can I
luck
just
with
read the
doing
news?
that.
This is where the news is at on it. It says newly obtained video shows the moment United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was shot and killed at close range in Midtown Manhattan Wednesday morning outside the Hilton Hotel. I was just right in front of the Hilton, dude. In the chilling video obtained by Fox News Digital, Thompson is seen walk. We saw the video. The culprit fires several shots. At one point, the gun appears to jam. The assailant then appeared to smack the gun. Yeah, we saw that. As he gets closer to Thompson, the man appears to continue to struggle with the pistol. Wait, what does this say now? Okay. Possibly firing off one more round at the victim who appears to be struggling to move. They have, okay. No, I didn't see this part. Check this out. This is a still of the guy
Yeah.
at a Starbucks. Wednesday. I don't know if this is before or after the shooting.
I mean, dog, is there anything colder than go assassinating
I
somebody
would say, look at
and
him,
then
though.
getting a latte?
I mean, if anyone would do that, it would be you too, Sam.
You can tell this is a guy
Such
though.
a coffee junkie.
He's fit. I mean, he looks military age. Yeah. I mean, like.
Is facial recognition, is that enough for facial recognition or whatever you say that, Johnny? Do you know
I mean,
how
that
much
would
do you
be
need?
If he's
so
in a database,
hard.
the eyes, they can get the eyes. I don't think the resolution on that would be great enough though. I don't know much about it, but a terrorized pedestrian seen fleeing. The culprit then walks between two vehicles. Oh yeah, now he got on a city bike.
So
Which
Ian
they said
Carroll
they can track those.
Said that someone on the internet was tracking the data with that.
Oh really? Okay.
Yes, I mean,
And
it's,
City has said that they will. City Bike, the people who run those, have said that they will contribute in any way they can. The suspect waited at a nearby corner all night until the executive walked by, according to a witness. The witness told reporters, sounds like Mark David Chapman, except, the not crazy version of him. The witness told reporters he heard 3 shots as he was parking a car in the area. That's the thing, too, about suppressors is... It's really you should call them a suppressor instead of a silencer because it's like a hand clapping. I mean
it's loud.
it's not
It's
like
not.
it in the movie. It's like
Yeah.
psip, psip. That's just somebody in Hollywood made that sound up to be what a suppressor. It's not like that at all.
so instead of hearing what a firework, which is what like people in LA, is that gunshot or firework? You're saying it's more like
No,
way
it's
louder.
not like
Way
that.
louder.
It's
Way
much
louder.
louder than that. Is what I'm saying. It's not like in the movies where you hear the pew
It
pew.
just
It's,
minimizes the concussion of it.
yeah. The suspect waited. We said that. I heard 3 shots. Yeah, and then I looked, and there's a man down. The witness said, adding that the shooter then crossed the street and ran. He's a white male in all black. Here's your witness right here. The guy was here in the corner the whole night. The witness noted.
why do I have a feeling that guy was on the corner the whole night as well?
I think he bought off of him. I think
Yeah.
he bought some off of him
Yeah.
at the corner.
Hey man, this is my corner. Go away. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, dude.
Anyway, there it is. Crime Stoppers has offered a $10,000 reward. So-
Would you say if you're going to do an inside, because that doesn't look that professional. If you know what I mean. Doesn't look like Hitman. Doesn't look like a guy.
what
you
is
get
a
on-
hitman? Hitman
Yeah, what do
is-
you want?
is-
I'm wearing a suit?
Yeah, this looks like
Bald
you can just
head?
get some kid in the struggling, be like, hey, if you kill this
By the
guy,
way,
I'll give you 20 racks.
There aren't a lot of hitmen.
That looks
by
like
the
a modern day version of Assassin's Creed.
It does. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, with the bad, I guess so.
Right? That
and
looks
Hitman, is that even? I mean, I think there are not many. They make it seem in the movies like there's just hitmen all over. I don't think there are many.
I think there's way
I
more
don't
than you
so.
think.
No, I don't think so.
I think there's
Like
just-
all the ones on the internet, almost all those are the FBI pretending to be hitmen.
Right.
Like almost every.
But that
one of
doesn't
them.
mean they're not assassins.
No, assassins is I'm talking about just like hitmen in the pop culture sense. Is not there's not like local hitmen that you can call to get your ex-wife whacked or whatever. You got to be at the highest levels to employ these people and move them around.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going on Craigslist looking for a hitman,
No, but even on the
you're
dark
probably
web.
being an undercover cop.
All those dark web
Yeah.
hitmen services are all just.
That's
part
how
of-
that Ross. Remember Ross?
Ulbricht, yeah, Ross
He
Ulbricht,
got
yeah.
caught with some hitmen that wasn't even a hitman. It was a cop, and the cop
Yeah.
killed some guy with some tomato sauce, and then they sent him to Ross, and Ross gave the money. So now he made it seem like you paid for a hitman, so now we can take you to jail. It was all fake. It was a fake kidnapping, fake hitman, fake killing.
Dude, XG doing the news is the best. Just
That might be.
you know what? Then
took
they
some
showed
ketchup.
up, and then they were like, "Hey, dog, not cool." And now he's in jail.
He is.
You know, I can listen to that all day. XG doing the news.
That
and
might
then
be a
this
new
guy
segment.
is like, what are we talking about? He's like, then he met him over there. And
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
like,
You only get to read it once, actually, and then you have to repeat it after that.
Oh, dude, that's like me. That's like what you want me to do. Spelling bee next?
it is crazy, dude. It is crazy. It's like, so then there's some people who take it as, oh, crime's so bad in New York. Look, that even a CEO is being affected. I'm like,
Dude.
bro, this is a hit.
No.
Somebody's taking this guy out because he doesn't want. I think it's Johnny. They don't want him saying something, or he stole money from bad people.
Could be. But that's a message too. That's not just that. That's a mess. Like where they did it is a message to other people. Like, hey, if you also run afoul of whoever these people are, we will do you in front of the Hilton where you're staying, where you probably feel the safest. Like, it's a message, right?
I totally agree. So I forgot to do this as we brought you in. You have a big announcement you wanted to announce on our show. So
Yes.
can we hear it? Let's go, bro.
All right, so I've been working on this for a few months. We are launching Wise Wolf Bitcoin, but that's not really the announcement. The announcement is if you look across the board, gold and silver companies, especially go to our Wolf Pack, which you got on the screen here, our membership program. You can use PayPal. You can use a credit card. That's the way we have it set up now. We are going to process crypto payments like Bitcoin especially. But what I'm going to announce, we're going to do a press release soon after you release this episode. We're going to charge 0 fees. Now, everybody charges a fee. It's usually between 2 and 5%, somewhere. It could be higher. Most gold and silver companies. I will be the only no-fee broker in America that I know of. I've looked around.
For gold, silver, or crypto.
It's if you want to use Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, and we're looking at all the other things too. We're going to add more cryptos, but we're starting with Bitcoin and the Bitcoin network. If you want to take your Bitcoin and turn it into precious metals, we will charge you no fee. So there will be no, you can use, I will take it at spot whenever I strike the price and you send it to me at that time. And we're working on putting the shopping cart together. In the meantime, if you just want to go direct with me, you can go to samtripoli.gold and just contact us and we'll put it together manually. I'm working on the network, but this is going to be, I think, just a great way for people to get in and out of the crypto space. If you want to do some profit taking, turn it into physical precious metals, we want to accommodate that. And or else that will give us some liquidity for Bitcoin. It's a symbiotic thing, and it's just something that's 6 months ago. A little after I came after the first show that we did back in April, I started working on this, and it's been churning. I mean, like, we got to do something different with the crypto and Bitcoin, and especially where post-election we've seen where you've seen Bitcoin. And I called that. I was like, well, if there's a Trump win, Bitcoin's going to go up, gold and silver will go down a little bit. Just because of, I was in Nashville when he, said we're going to make it a strategic reserve asset, and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. talked about. I mean, there's monumental moves being made in crypto, but all the fundamentals for gold and silver is still there. So it's been a bargain time to load up on precious metals.
I love it, dude.
That's what we're going to do. And bear with me while I put all. I was on the plane. My little sister's here with me, and we brought my dog, and I was flying.
I love that you have a Chihuahua.
I do. I don't know how I became the guy with the little dog, but she's when I was in San Antonio, we adopted her. She's that's Beans. She's on all the invoices, and she's on my website.
I love it. I love it. We have a pug. I don't know how I got a pug, but I got a pug. Little dogs are great.
Yeah, she's. We were walking down Hollywood Boulevard today. I was thinking, wow, you've been a lot of places. I started, taking her with me when I travel. Such a great dog, and people come by the shop in Branson just wanting to see Beans.
I love it, dude. You're such a fucking badass, and you got this cute little dog everywhere you go.
Balances me out, I think.
Nobody ever can. You ever see like annoying people bring their dog on the thing? You're like, oh, this fucking. And then you walk in with your dog. You're like, hey, it's great, good, welcome, welcome, hang out. Yeah. It's fucking great.
Yeah, like the dog comes around the corner first, and they're like, "Oh, fuck this dog," and then he walked, and they're like, "Hey, cute doggy."
Great dog. So that's great. So if you take Bitcoin, you can go on there and you can buy. Do you think we're getting better and better right now with our ability to use crypto to buy stuff? Do you think it's making? Because I feel like the first run, everyone was excited about crypto, and there's just nothing you could do with it. I think that's why things like what was it, Dreamland? Was that a decentralized land? That's why it just died on the vine, because they're like, oh, dude, it's going to be this giant VR, but it just never caught up.
Well, did you know there in Asia there's this whole game? It's like Axie Infinity, I think it's called. And it's a game. It's kind of like Pokemon to me. I don't quite understand it, but it had a coin that it paid the people who played it out. And there was like a whole underclass of people in Asia who were doing this as a job and making like life-changing amounts of money because of this Axie Infinity coin that it peaked like last year and has collapsed since then. But yeah, you're right. It's so much more. There's so much more utility to these coins now.
Did you hear the conspiracy about the Pokemon game? With that basically
that's what I told you.
It's not a conspiracy.
On Broken Sim, remember?
Was that they were using it to just...
It's not a conspiracy, yeah. They are doing it. They were doing it to... They would send people to map certain areas.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we haven't have anybody here. Oh, there's a Pokemon over here. And everyone would just come there and they would do the day. Unbelievable.
Crazy. Yeah.
And nobody cares. Well, that's great, man. I'm
exciting.
I'm excited for. I mean, there's a lot of people that think crypto is going to enslave us, and it's possible.
How?
What?
Tell me how.
Well,
I
the
mean,
technology is certainly dangerous.
Well,
It's
I mean-
a double-edged sword. It's either
Right.
something that's going to free you. It's like a weapon. It's like having a gun. You
Yeah.
can either hurt people with it or you can protect people with it. It's the technology in and of itself is neutral. It's what hands it's in and what we allow people to do. You talk about lizards. I mean, go back to the Federal Reserve, the central banksters, and the central bank digital currency. That's what we have to push back against. And by the way, they're building it. I mean, the World Economic Forum was crowing, 3 months ago about, I think, 97% of countries have a white paper drawn up. They're ready to implement it. Some of that stuff's on hold here in this country, but still, not on say on hold, it's slowed down a little bit. But the central bank digital currencies are still coming. The question is, can those of us who are promoting free markets and human liberty and the free exchange of ideas, can we get out ahead of the ball and create a system where if they deliver it, it's inert? Which has been my goal, like just to speak out. I've been talking about central bank digital currency for years, and long before it even hit the popular vernacular. So I think we are on a good track right now. There's lots of danger. It's perilous. What's the Chinese symbol for crisis and opportunity is just inverted. That's where I believe we are now, and I think the dollar. I'm going to talk about this in my next show, but I'll drop it here. I wanted to respond to Trump's tweet on the 100% tariffs for countries that don't use the dollar. I mean, that's weaponization of the dollar by other means. By the way, the dollar is on its way out. It doesn't. It's sticking around, but you got to understand. After Basel III, the Bank of International Settlements in 2021, they took gold from a tier 3 asset to a tier 1 asset, so put it right up there with currency, and then it bypassed the euro. So it's the dollar and then gold. Ladies and gentlemen, gold has already supplanted the dollar as the world's reserve currency again. It's the end of Gresham's law. That's where we are. Now, you can still use dollars, and there's still going to be a lot of things going to be denominated in dollars. But you see, that's why these central banks are buying massive amounts, breaking the records,
That's why
buying
I just
gold.
keep buying gold, bro.
Gold is money, and again, that's something that the bankster J.P. Morgan said: is that gold is money, everything else is credit. Except he's incorrect. Everything else is debt. So there's 52 times more currency on Earth than I was born in the end of '79, and that's only going to increase. So. Again, gold and what the BRICS countries, by the way, what Trump was saying is that if you create your own currency to compete with the dollar, then we'll put 100% tariff. You won't be able to sell in the country. I don't think they're not doing that. I don't think what the BRICS nations are doing, which is Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, Saudi Arabia, they got like 40% of the world's population and more of the GDP. They're creating cross-border payment system utilizing commodities. Okay, so that's why they want to reevaluate everything. That's what's going on in this century. That's what's going on in this decade. That's the Great Reset. The Great Reset is a financial reset outside of the 1971 experiment of Richard Nixon taking us off the gold standard, and the rest of the world followed, which is a fiat currency system. So they're going to reset everything, and and that's.
What are your thoughts on that? Good or bad for humanity? Obviously, for the dollar, that hurts the dollar.
Well, the dollar, we'll have to go through some sort of. My opinion is it's more nefarious in the sense they'll use that opportunity to usher in the central bank digital currency problem, reaction, solution. It's like, well, look at what these other countries did to our beloved dollar, and then just give us your biometrics. Here's your wallet, and gets put into the system. That's the central bank digital currency. We're all in this together with the same kind of language they rolled under COVID 1984. But I think what is happening is that, again, these countries are moving away from the dollar. De-dollarization is happening. You say it every week in the ad, that we read for Wisewolf. It's real. De-dollarization is happening rapidly. The percentages of uses of dollars is collapsing. And again, it's not an alarm bell going off in the night, but you can see it a long ways off. These countries are going to stop using it, and they're going to create cross-border payment systems using gold, because the dollar, again, loses purchasing power every single month, every single year, and they have one weapon, which is like, we're going to print our way out of it, whereas the welfare of the warfare state. That's the modern central bank economy, which is going to be replaced. Yeah. So Bitcoin has a role in that. Gold and silver have a role in that. But if you don't want to be, I think, in a sense of normalcy bias where the dollar's not going to hold its value. Yeah, you can trade in and out of the dollar. That's fine. But at the end of the day, gold and silver are the new cash. Bitcoin is savings. These are things that's the future. The 1971 experiment. Have you ever seen the website WTF happened in 1971? Have you ever seen that website?
No.
It just, I mean, the talk about socially.
WTF, what happened in 71?
Yeah, WTF happened in 1971 website.
Let's go, bro.
It is, it really breaks down all the socioeconomic impacts of fiat currency. And we said this last time we were on the show. Fiat currency is evil.
Yeah.
The fiat currency, fake currency system it creates things that
funds
should not be.
Everything you can't stand.
Yes.
Everything that you think is wrong in the world, this fiat currency is funding it. They've turned our Federal Reserve, which is actually their Federal Reserve, into funding all the wars, into funding all the social programs that have brought great chaos to the world. And I mean, like, I hate it. Guys, listen, it is Christmas, and you know what that means? Someone's coming down your chimney. Who is it going to be? Is it going to be Santa Claus, or is it going to be a home invader? And if it's a home invader, it is go time, and you might have to get right out of your bed and ready to fight. That's why I sleep in True Classic. I go to the mall in True Classic. I do stand-up in True Classic. I mean the boardroom in True Classic. I do tinfoil hat True Classic, and I am ready to fight in True Classic because it is form-fitting, ready to go. High kick to the head apparel, okay? If you're looking to roundhouse kick other people in the head, there's no better place than True Classic. It is the most comfortable fight gear I've ever worn in my life, okay? It is perfect. It is like, I can wear True Classic at a board meeting. I can wear it at a wedding. I can wear it stand-up. I can wear it wherever I want. Dude, I'm looking at the website right now. They make old men look fuckable. That's how great True Classic is, dude. If you're older, got some weird angles, put on a little True Classic, and ladies will love you. Girls adore you, even the ones who never saw you, okay? They'll all love you, and this is the best. There's no better clothes for men than True Classic. Get in it now. They got everything. They got socks. They got pants. They got shirts. They got, you name it. They got everything. You name it. They got underwear. Look at that underwear. Fire, dude. I've been at the place. I think they're working on sneakers, too.
Oh.
Yeah, give me some True Classic sneakers, dude. We're in it to win it. Do they have socks? They said they got socks. Do they got socks? Please, God, have socks.
Or if you're breaking news there with the
Socks
They
right
got
there.
Socks, dude. We are
Socks.
winning. Dude, form-fitting, short, long, you name it. Whatever men need to get the job done.
Look at those sunglasses.
They sell glasses, dude. Look how good looking those glasses are. So, Johnny, hit us with it.
The holidays are here, and True Classic's ultra comfortable, perfect fitting essentials make the perfect gift for you and the men in your life. So if you're ready to upgrade your closet, shop now and unlock big savings during their huge holiday sale. Just go to our exclusive link at trueclassic.com/tenfoil to save. That's trueclassic.com/tenfoil. Please support our show and tell them we sent you in the year with holiday cheer, thanks to True Classic.
You know, as a guy who fought for the country, like, when you hear we're moving off the dollar, are you happy? Are you sad about that? Because it's like a double-edged sword, right? Like, in one hand, it like hurts the country because that's our monetary system. But on the other hand, it's like, we got to stop funding all these wars. We got to stop bringing pain and suffering to everybody else. I'm anti-war across the board. Not just Gaza. What's happening in Yemen, what's happening in all these other places. Like, I'm anti all that. I hate war. There's too many people who are way too comfortable with war. And I've never been to war. You've been to war. I don't need to go to war to know the war is bad. And that's why I've been anti-war since the moment I realized there was war. Yes. So what is your whole thoughts on that?
Well, fiat currency and the dollar itself right now is the lifeblood of the military-industrial complex. It promotes the evil that underlies the warfare state. That's what we are under right now. And this is, again, they build things that shouldn't be built. They promote companies that should have failed. They promote people that shouldn't be in our reality as far as leadership and all the rest. And it's fake. It's a fake, we said this last, fake news, fake wars, fake politicians with real consequences. And that's what fiat currency does. You don't need the dollar. I'm sorry, you don't. We have a gold standard. We have a silver standard. It's known worldwide, whether you're in Boston or Bangladesh. It doesn't matter. That's what gold's worth. Bitcoin's the same thing. Silver's the same thing. There are better ways. We didn't have a central bank from 1836 to 1913. Andrew Jackson wanted that on his tombstone. He hated the Rothschild banking system. He killed the second bank of the United States. He wanted that on his tombstone. I killed the bank. He said they were a den of vipers and thieves. And he said, I'm going to rout you out. And that was one of his greatest achievements. So we were fine. We had private institutions that would issue currency or notes and so on. The government, of course, constitutionally, the United States Constitution says that only Congress can coin money, and it has to be gold and silver. It's not that I necessarily am just in love with gold and silver, but and you can have corrupt government with a gold standard. It's just a lot harder for them to get away with the massive amount of fraud and criminality that they have right now.
You just are playing monopoly money. You're just printing money, bribing everybody everywhere to do unholy acts against humanity. Through this fake money, you're bribing everybody. You're bribing everybody with fake money, and you're taking back real assets.
Yeah, and you're robbing people who think, well, they're working twice as hard to make half as much. Again, and every time you increase the money supply, those on fixed income lose. Is it meals or is it medicine? They have to decide. This is immoral. And so if you have, the 19th century, we didn't have inflation. If I use this all the time, people who hear me are probably sick of it. But, if you went to see George Washington, his inaugural, you bought a suit, it would cost the same in 1902. We literally had no inflation. It wasn't part of our lineage. That's a bankster scheme. That's a magic trick. Babylonian money magic. 100%. That's what it's alchemy. It's modern alchemy, economic alchemy.
Dark arts.
That's why I promote sound money, because I think sound money promotes freedom, promotes peace. You can't get away with the things they get away with now. Like I was reading on the plane yesterday, just some ancient history, and of course the first gold coins came out of Lydia. I don't know if you knew this. And the king of Lydia, his name was Croesus. And so, we always have that, anybody that talks about gold coins and where, the Lydian coins, they had a certain alloy that's called Electra. They were mixed with silver and gold, but that was the first coinage. And of course, the king, he wanted to know, he called all the soothsayers and the psychics and the oracles. He sent out an edict, and he said, if you can tell me what I'm doing tonight, I'll shower you with gold, because I want to know the future. And only one of them got it right. It was the Oracle of Delphi. And the Oracle of Delphi said, well, I see what you're doing. Then they wrote back and said, you were having a turtle and a rabbit for dinner or something like that. It's some random thing that no one would have ever gotten. And so he showers the oracle with gold. And he says, now, I want to attack the Persian Empire, which is Iran. That's why I'm bringing it up, because this is where we're headed in 2025. If that's what I see. So he's going to attack Iran, which is the first modern gold economy. And the oracle says, he says, what will happen if I attack Iran? And the oracle says, if you attack Iran, a great empire will fall. And so the king increases, he gets all his army together, and he goes and attacks Persia. And he attacks Persia, and a great empire falls, his.
Yeah.
The oracle never said which one.
Yeah.
So it's something that, where we're careening into this moment in history, I'm seeing, 2 or 3 steps ahead, with the Trump's picks in his cabinet, where we're leaning. We might, hopefully, we get away from the Ukraine conflict or put something on that to de-escalate. But I think that's where we have to have wisdom going into the rest of this decade and the rest of this century, because the powers that be, they're pushing the Great Reset. That's what we're in. We're in Agenda 21. We're in Agenda 2030. These things are aligning, and they all circle themselves. That's in the orbit that we're in right now. And, of course, the monetary system is changing. Everything's changing. That's going to be the one constant, but we got to stay out of these wars.
No, I agree, dude. I really do agree. And that's where we're heading. It's so interesting to have that shirt on, Alexander the Great, because I think so much of what's playing into the world has to do with that dude going into the city of Tyre and just wrecking those Babylonians. And they've never forgived Russia for that ever since. And they've had they've done everything they can to cripple that country over and over and over again. I think it all comes back to that battle, like why they hate that guy, because he went into that town that was uninvadable. They made it so it was a fortress that you could not penetrate, and he penetrated it, and they hate him ever since. And just all goes back to that. And just, like whatever you want to say about what this religion, that religion, Jesus said no usury, and he's 100% right on that. Debt has caused great angst in this world. I mean, even if you study like what they do with, I remember when I was young, it was like, I'm the oldest guy here. I was going to college. I was looking at colleges in the 90s. And one of the big sells was, hey, dude, there's 5 chicks to 1 guy. And I was like, all right. Well, you fast forward that to modern day, it's even gotten worse. It's way more women to men. And if you're a guy, you're like, oh, that's great. But if you think about it, all those women now are graduating college deep in debt. This huge debt. And like you start making decisions on your life not to fulfill the thing that I think we're here to do, which is find love, get married, have kids. Or some semblance of that, right? You're not thinking about that anymore. You're thinking about how am I going to pay off this college debt?
That's right.
Same thing with doctors. How am I going to pay off this debt? And you start making decisions to pay off the debt and not to chase your true cause, what you're here to do. And that leads into what? Depopulation.
Yeah. Debt, slavery, depopulation, loss of hope, complete loss of trajectory where you should have gone. We've created an alternate
100%.
timeline with this stuff.
And it's all done on purpose. And what is the one debt you can't get out of in bankruptcy?
Student loans. You cannot get out of it.
Yeah, you can't get out of it
which is unconstitutional, by the way, because the Constitution gives you the right for bankruptcy. It gives you the right to get out. We don't have debt slavery in this country. We're supposed to not have, right? We can't have debt slavery. Can't be in debtor's prison. Well, technically you can. They raid people that didn't pay their student loans and put them in jail because they got liens against them. Happens all the time. That's what system they've built.
And we have some craziness because like we're like $1 billion trillion in debt right now. And like we were talking earlier, like Iceland, like they just told the bankers to fuck off.
Yeah, it's not a real. I mean, it's not a real debt.
It's not a real debt.
They say we owe it to ourselves, and I raise my hand. Actually, we don't owe it to anyone.
We owe nothing.
It's an international banking consortium that's not owned by the Americans. I mean, The Creature from Jekyll Island. You could do that. Read that entire tome, and it doesn't tell you who owns it. Really, there's speculation on who owns it, but we really don't know. It's international banking cabals. So I mean, we don't owe it. We could literally free ourselves and just completely reset. Well, that's what we do our own reset. But that's what I think. That's what you'd have to do to reignite the republic, to have human liberty again, to put the individual back in charge, and the sovereignty of the individual. That's what you'd have to do. You have to reset the currency system. That's why I do what I do.
So do you think you could ever pay for like a Starbucks coffee with like a gold app?
Sure.
Or like I have my gold app, instead of paying for money, because the reason there's gold now, the reason dollars were invented was you couldn't carry around gold.
They have the technology right now. I mean, the private sector can do this magnificently. You could just make gold and silver legal tender, Bitcoin legal tender. I mean, we're always going to live in taxation is theft. I mean, I agree with this, but you got to have something kind of, whether it's tariffs or consumption tax. You have to have something to run things. I don't agree with all the things they do. We'd have to have a different conversation about where the money goes. But you don't need, again, with the control the money supply, and that's something that Mayor Amschel Rothschild says, I care not who sits on the British throne. The person who controls the British Empire is the person who controls the British money supply, and I control the British money supply. It's a famous quote from the 19th century. We can do so much better in the private sector, creating, like you said, you can do fractionalized gold where it spins just like anything else, and you could put it into a currency that's acceptable or whatever, and you can do that worldwide in real time. You could deposit gold, physical gold, and spend against it. They have that technology. There's a depository. I'm going to have a guy on my show. He wrote a book called Pirate Money, and it's about the founding fathers and the lessons they took from hard money, sound money, building it into the United States Constitution, and how to defeat the Great Reset. I think that's one of the title of the book. It's a good little book. But he talks about that, and the depository they have in Texas and the fractionalized gold system. And
Texas is thinking about getting their own Federal Reserve or their own monetary system. I forget.
Is that allowed? Is that constitutional?
Yeah, I mean they could. Just again, the state. I don't understand why the state needs to be involved. That's when people ask me, "Would you
Yeah.
support Texas having a gold digital currency?" I'm like, "Well, I mean, we already have a gold standard. I already know what silver's worth. I
Right.
don't really need you." That's
Yeah,
what I think we get
no,
in
you could just
trouble.
barter. I mean, we bartered. For,
I just feel like people are
All of
just
history.
they just think anything outside the system is too hard. And you're like, no, this is actually probably easier. Hey man, you're buying this hamburger. How many gold coins do I need? Or
Well,
what do I-
and that at least is involves some thought and consideration of the idea. Too often now you hear people say, "That's crazy." You know, like that's you're. Oh, what is this guy? A conspiracy?
Yeah, Brian
kook or
Callen was
something?
like that. That
It's
was
just
one of
out
our
of hand.
biggest fights forever. Me and Brian Callen was the Federal Reserve. He thinks it's like it helps, and I go, dude, you're just crazy. He goes, Sam, what are you gonna go? Different states are gonna have different money. I go to Canada. They have different money. There's not a giant summit on how I'm gonna pay for this latte,
That's hilarious.
right? I
Totally.
mean, like, what are you talking about, bro? What are you talking
We've
about?
done it before.
We've done it before. They can't come to grips with it. They just they have this understanding. It's like these people. The problem with the average person is they project themselves onto people they don't know. So when they look at Hillary Clinton, they're like, I mean, I wouldn't slaughter the fucking president of Libya and cause open air slave trades. So why would she do that? Why would she do that? I wouldn't do that. Why would she do that? Because you're not her.
Yeah, you're not a sociopath.
Yep.
You're not there. You're not there. They know exactly who she is. And that's why she is where she is. Because they know, like, when she got kicked out of Barry Goldwater or whatever his name, kicked it out of the Nixon,
Watergate.
And like, oh, this is the chick you want. She'll slit her mother's throat for to win a case, right? Like that just promotes her, promoting up. It's 100%. They kicked her off. Next thing you know, she's off and running. They're like, okay, she's a closet lesbian. Hook him up with this bisexual guy called Bill Clinton. Let's start a superpower.
She was a devotee to Saul Alinsky, who dedicated his book "Rules for Radicals" to Lucifer. So, I mean, that's pretty much tells you.
So, same thing with Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, bro. Unbelievable. So Trump gets in. Billy Ray's probably like, this guy's this. Hey, dude, he was right.
Yeah, I know.
He was right. So then Trump's coming up, and I just sent you this video. Can you run it, Johnny? Of
On my phone?
I emailed it to you.
Oh, okay.
And it's the guy who you remember, everybody wanted to debate him on vaccines, but he wouldn't debate. Listen to what this guy said on MSNBC. Watch what this guy says. Listen to him specifically what he says.
Hold on just a second. It might be a little hot there. It sounds like just a second.
Here's the reason why we need to care about this stuff, Nicole, is that we have some big picture stuff coming down the pike starting on January 21st. Mr. Bloomberg mentioned H5N1. That I'm really worried about. It's all over wild birds on the western part of the United States and going up in the north. It's getting into the poultry. We're seeing sporadic human cases, no human-to-human transmission yet.
Yeah,
but that
here
could
we
happen.
go.
It's in the cattle. It's in the milk. And that's just the beginning. We have another major coronavirus likely brewing in Asia. We've had SARS in 2002, SARS-2, COVID-19 in 2019. And we know these viruses are jumping from bats to people thousands of times a year.
Yeah.
But there's still more. We know that we have a big problem with mosquito-transmitted viruses all along the Gulf Coast, where I am here in Texas. So we're expecting dengue and possibly Zika virus coming back, or Puche virus.
I mean,
maybe
this
even yellow
sounds
fever.
like a
And there's
musical
more.
festival
We have
with all your favorite viruses.
vaccine-preventable
Right? We're going to have
diseases,
Zika on the main
because of-
stage. Then on the second stage, going to be coronavirus. Then on the small stage, it's going to be like, dude, like it's some virus palooza.
What must his life be like, this poor guy?
But the craziest part of this whole video, he goes, starting January 21st. Like,
Just like Fauci did.
He pulled
prior-
all his hair out. Look at him. Poor guy.
right.
Fauci did it in 2017, right? Right
Yeah,
before.
this next administration is going to see some crazy pandemic coming out. How do you know that? And again, everyone explains, because we have one every year. They're so great. This guy is absolutely crazy. in 2024 to be saying this crazy shit that everyone is burnt on. You burnt us. You burnt us. And now you're still playing the game again. And then my favorite part is like, well, this hasn't gone from animal to human. Not yet. That's how they get you into it. That's how they get you every time. They get you to accept in something else or someone else. HIV was that way. Oh, dude, this gay virus over here. These guys are doing gay shit together. Huh? It's killing them off. Thank God you're straight. And then as soon as everyone buys it, they're like, oh, this straight chick just got AIDS too. Now you're caught. Now they got you trapped because you believed it in gay people, but you're not going to believe. Now you got to believe it in straight people. Now they got you caught. Same thing with him. Oh, yeah, it's only animals. Hasn't transferred to a human yet. Yeah. But once you accept it in pigs or whatever the animal is, once you accept that that's a real thing.
They tried with one of them and they let it go, monkeypox. Remember they tried and then it was too racist for them? And they were like, okay.
Stop calling it monkeypox. It's just M-pox. Like, buy your Xbox, get some M-pox. Right?
You think RFK will do anything?
We'll see. We'll see. Like, he still believes in all that stuff. You know, it's like when I sit on panels with Dr. Drew, I don't try to get into that stuff with him because I mean, like, I'm not saying that viruses don't exist, but it's not what they tell us. It's just not what they tell us. It's just not. And everything's about selling you on a vaccine to make money and put metals in you, which hurts you and hurts kids and all that stuff. And this guy's just a doctor of death. And he looks like he hasn't slept in years.
RFK, he's got the best line. Have you heard where he said, I tried to get mercury out of vaccines and people called me anti-vaccine. I tried to get mercury out of fish. Nobody ever called me anti-vax. I mean, anti-fish. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's he's just trying to make. He's not compared to us. I mean, what most of us believe in the red pill community. Like, he's a very mild version of that. And they still treat him like he's
he can be
insane.
really right sometimes. He can be really right,
but he's not. But he believes in viruses and vaccines. Like, he thinks that they are effective in many cases. He's not like us.
No,
I mean,
he just doesn't feel like you shouldn't be able to sue him. Yeah,
they treat him like he is coming
one of us.
Right out of tinfoil hat, though. Yeah.
Well, the truth is, it's like he has to be. He can't go. It's like when I talk about Jimmy Dore and I talk about Joe Rogan.
You think he's lying then?
No, I don't think he's lying. I think. Well, I mean, maybe, but I don't. I think he's doing it on purpose because you can do more. I mean. I'm just saying he's never going to be allowed to do any of the things he's doing right now if he comes out and goes, viruses aren't real. Yeah. It's never, and it's why I don't want Jimmy Dore to get there. And it's why I don't want Joe Rogan to really get there publicly because they can get normal people in where most people will be turned off by this show of us just discussing it.
So it's kind of like, if I'm dating a chick, I ask her, what do you think about vaccines? And
that's
she'll
what
be
you
like,
do day one?
No. But if I'm like, come on.
My God.
But
like the appetizer hasn't even shown up. You're like, what's your thoughts on vax?
All right.
What are you working for?
At dessert. All right, wait up. I wait till dessert gets here and then ask her, like, what do you think about vaccines? And instantly, I don't say I don't want my kid to take none. I instantly, she's like, well, vaccines are real. I'm like, well, have you heard of the one with, what's
you can't do that day one.
Not day one, but you know what I mean? I'm not talking day one, but I'm talking into dating. I don't hit him.
I don't want to get too redundant, but you got to wait till.
Yeah. No, what's the guy who does their sneaky recordings of like pharma people?
Yeah.
Give me a second.
What's the guy's name?
James O'Keefe.
Yeah. What are you working for, James O'Keefe? You know, anybody brings that up on the first date,
you're asking about
no
vaccines.
No one said first date. I said I'm dating this chick, and vaccines get brought up, and I don't hit her with no kid should get vaccines. I hit her with have you heard of the Hep C shot? And I hit her with that one first.
Well, but that has other connotations in it as well.
No, but I just sit there and tell them that they shouldn't take all of them.
Bro.
Will you hold hands and get vaccines with me?
Yeah. You can't open up day one.
Well,
Listen,
I don't want her to make her my
listen,
girlfriend to start
listen.
off with.
Well, then you should ask her before you even go on the date. You shouldn't even get into
Yeah, you should
Cheesecake
put it in your
Factory.
Tinder profile. Yeah, put it in your
You should
Tinder
be
profile.
like, what are your thoughts on vaccine? I love them. Okay, no date.
I mean, she goes on my Tinder and she finds out I do this podcast. It's pretty. She already knows where I pretty much stand.
You put it in your Tinder profile?
No.
that You do a podcast?
Oh yeah, I'm the co-host of Tinfoil Hat. Yeah.
Do you really?
Yeah, it's in the co-host is Sam.
That's
Why
so
not?
interesting. I won't want people knowing
Why?
that.
Because it's like, dude, it's like when I had long hair. It wasn't right for every chick, but the ones that was right
they're in.
for, it was
so
it
curious.
sealed the deal.
Yeah,
You guys
these
are
girls don't
complete-
even vaccinate their dogs.
I don't
So
want
if they're
people
in
to
the
know.
conspiracies, he's in.
I don't want any. I want to learn everything about a person organically. I don't want them to be able to research me, Google me, none of that. No, I don't want that.
You know they can, right, Johnny?
No, I'm pretty. I was
Johnny,
pretty good
I
about
guarantee you they're Googling Johnny.
that. Yeah, no,
Woodard.
they're good at it, but no, I don't. They don't get my name. Like I don't get my full name. You crazy?
On Tinder? You just
I
put
didn't,
Johnny?
I mean-
it's been so long since I've
No,
been
you
on
don't put
those.
you don't put your social security number either, Sam.
Oh, I don't have one. So
Yeah, but
I
you're
can't put
not-
it in there.
Sorry. Sorry. I didn't mean to other you. I didn't want to other you. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Interesting.
You can like drop that in there in the conversation, make an in run around it. Like, hey, what do you think is the rise of autism since 1980? What do you think and your opinions on that? I mean, so you like going to the gym? What do you think about autism? You could just throw that out there.
What's up with all these autistics? Right? Get into
everywhere.
it. Then she starts going off on special needs. You're like, either you're really turned on or you're really turned off. You don't know at that point. It's just super weird. Yeah, I don't know, man. I would tell you, like, if you're dating, that it when you start getting to that point, like, I mean, like, I don't know, first date, you kind of want to make a good first impression. Then after that, I do find that to be a big issue. Because if you are pro-vax or anti-vax and the other person is totally different, that's a big problem. I mean, there's a famous comedian that joke about lying to his girlfriend about their kid and secretly getting him vax. I would lose it. I mean, it just sucks. So I think it's important. Because I do think it's going to be there's going to be like two kinds of people, you know?
You have two, and then one gets them, the other one does it, and then we find out who's right.
Well, I think, no, there are people who've done that.
Yeah?
There are people who, like, their early kids got vaccinated and they have health problems, and their younger kids, they're like, I'm not doing it. Perfectly fine. And for me, I just don't understand how a mother could be. Even if there's like a 10% chance, why would you want to risk it? Why would you want to risk it?
And social pressure.
Social pressure and this thought of like, oh, in downtown, I remember here's a downtown LA, like some West Nile, whatever is all over the place. You're like, but I've never heard anybody dying. And have you heard one kid dying from this? But yet they're all love. You're not questioning their love. Because they're doing it out of love. But it's like, where's your motherly instinct going? If they go, hey man, if your kid goes to this playground, there's a 10% chance they're gonna get kidnapped. Would they go to the playground? They would never go to the playground. Yeah, but they're like, hey dude, it's 1 in 4 now, 25%. Well, what's causing that?
It's an invisible enemy. It's like terrorism or COVID 1984. It's invisible.
It's
They can't
never
see
meant
it.
to be so, right? It's so crazy. So in your opinion, when a doctor speaks highly of vaccines, do you think they just don't get any of the data, or they're just like, again, like, I got to pay off these loans?
I think that they have, would you call that, Johnny, would you call that confirmation bias of some kind? Like they just believe in the system so much.
But they've been indoctrinated.
It's been. They don't study. I mean, you look at like what is it? Like they spend 2 weeks on it in medical. Like it's not very. They just believe the the polio vaccine, the breakthrough of that, the ties to cowpox. Was it cowpox that I had to get the smallpox vaccine when I was in the army? They gave me the smallpox and they gave me anthrax on the same day. I tell you what, when they gave me the anthrax shot, and I had almost I think all 8 series. When they gave me the anthrax shot, I could feel it go through my heart. I've said this before on my show. There was a gun. I could feel it. And I called the CDC. I was a 22-year-old. I called the CDC and asked them, am I supposed to have – because nobody would answer my questions in the military. They're like, yeah, I just get on. And they, my lymph nodes swell up really big from the cowpox, which is smallpox, And so no, I will never take another
I'm
shot.
never
If I had a
taking a-
child today, I would not vaccinate them.
For anything. No.
I wouldn't. I mean, my son, I was just on the curve of that. You know, my son is going to be 20 years old next year, and I was 25 when I had him. And I would just do it differently now. I just know so much more.
Yeah.
It's really about education.
Yeah.
And you can't talk down to people. You can't. It's like fluoride. I mean, we're having the conference. It's finally, after all these years. Can you imagine all the conspiracy theorists and people that written about this for years that are long since dead, and now it's in the popular. People are doing studies on it, and it is a neurotoxin, and yeah, it does stunt growth mentally, and it's not. Why would you mass dose anything? Why don't you put vitamin C in the water? I mean, no, these are all great questions to ask about these people.
But
that
it gets
advocate
into the
it.
question, like the person who does the initial "let's put fluoride in the water." What is his intention?
Well, that's like the history of Alcoa, the aluminum company, and then obviously the offshoot of Operation Paperclip. From all my research, which is the Nazis they bring back. They're like, "Are you putting the fluoride in the water?" You know, it anesthetizes people.
I just so when everyone goes, I trust the science. I want to go. Why do we have fluoride in the water? And then they'll be like, because of our teeth. Get out of here.
Name one other thing that they masked up. Like what other? That's the excuse is the teeth. But what really is it? And I think that's where it breaks down the logic where, you know, it's just not something you would ever do. Like, why would you mass dose anything? There's something nefarious in it. And of course, you know, Jim Mars pointed this out years and years ago, but the Prozac, it was the 94% fluorine, which is the derivative or a cousin to fluoride. It's anesthetizing.
It's so dark. It's so dark. And it's just like, how many things do they have to get wrong before you go, man, you can be respectful, but there's nothing wrong with questioning.
One of the funniest jokes you had, I remember, was like something about, can you believe people still eat Subway or something like that? I always think about that when I drive past the Subway. Can you believe it? There's people that still, and when I drive by a Subway, I always think of that because, you know, gosh, it really isn't. When you step back and you look at the food that you ate when you were a kid, and then stuff that you would not eat now.
Yeah.
You know, and every once in a while you'll fall down and eat something stupid or processed.
Yeah,
but
I still.
you still fall down, but you know when you're doing it, it's like this is really. Oh, I used to call it porn food. You know, like you eat like a pizza, then you want to hide it, like you watch porn. Get rid of the evidence, like you never did it. You know.
I struggle with my kids, man. They are very particular. Like we finally got them eating more pancakes, but they're just chicken nuggets all the time.
Pancakes. That's the good alternative is the pancakes? Oh.
Johnny,
Any
listen,
variety
you
works
can't
sometimes.
beat
Yeah.
these kids anymore. You can't. You can't go, eat something and smack them. You can't do it. So you negotiate with them, and at some point they realize,
They'll get hungry eventually, won't they?
Johnny, good luck.
That was my mom's logic.
I love talking to people that don't have kids the way they got just master children. Just wave a wand and the kid will do what you want him to do.
I do struggle with this idea. Okay, so do you wish now, if you could go back, would you have never introduced them to the more savory foods, like the more appealing foods?
Yeah, I mean, if I could go back, yeah, for sure.
You would, okay.
I would have held off apple juice for as long as I possibly could have.
Okay.
Because that's all she wants to drink is apple juice.
She's
She's so smart, and she's just got will. She's got this will like I've never seen any. She hangs out with her other
That's
kid
so
friends. Those kids do whatever they're. My kid, like, no. I'm like, why? Because I don't have to. And I'm like, you know what? You're totally
Her
right.
father's daughter. Yeah. You know,
You don't have to.
It makes me think now. There's, you know, I'm more inclined to say like, hey, don't introduce them to it. Hold out as long as you can. But then there's another school of thought that when they are finally introduced to whatever you're withholding, it will be out of your sight, and then it will just result in this like uncontrolled obsession with, you know, sweets and.
She's now coming out of
whatever.
it. You know,
Drugs,
she's now
whatever.
coming out of it. She's starting to eat more stuff. Like before, she used to eat nothing but fruits and all that stuff, and then she just decided one day, nope. And there's nothing really I could do about it until you know, it's like
What would happen if you just waited until like, hey, we don't have any of that?
we're gonna starve you to death.
No, I mean, I think she would just be like, I'm starving. Give me some
It's
apples.
There's something that you love
You can't do
more
it.
than anything in the world
can't do it, yeah.
is sad and angry and crying. All you want to do is stop that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you eventually end up when you negotiate with terrorists, you end up giving in to the terrorists, and they end up winning. And
so
there's
funny.
nothing you can do
peace
about
in
it.
our time. And
Right?
the Neville Chamberlain of parenting.
Yeah, you're just
I've
trying.
been there.
You're just trying, and it's just so hard right now. So what's your? I mean, like, it's hard to be into the conspiracy stuff and be like, what do you think about his cabinet and all that stuff? But it's hard. It's hard. But like, again, do we want to be the black pill people?
I think the conversation that David Knight had with Alex Jones, he talks about all the time, that they had in the break room before the 2016 election, you know, before David was fired. He was fired in 2020 and from InfoWars. And I'm friends with David Knight. I'm friends with a lot of the InfoWars. I used to be a host there, a guest host on InfoWars. I'm always thankful for that network and Alex for putting me on. But they had a conversation that David talks about. He says, well, you know, Alex asked David, he said, what happens if Trump wins? And David said, well, we applaud him when he does well and we oppose him when he does wrong. And I think that's the best way to do it. It's balanced. If he's going to do something that I applaud, like making Bitcoin a strategic reserve asset, great, I applaud that. Telling countries there's going to be 100% tariff for not using the dollar, I oppose that because it hurts us, and I think that in the long run, we ought to make it more attractive for companies to come here. We ought to make it, a tax-free zone. We ought to be abolishing certain regulations. We ought to just open up our markets. We have a lot of American entrepreneurs that want to go to work, and the American worker is magnificent. We ought to put people back to work. That should be our focus. I think, weaponization of the dollar has backfired. Again, we can see
Horribly.
the de-dollarization happening just in real time. And it's something I do in my business. I'm watching it. And so I disagree with that. And his cabinet, it seems like they're preparing for war. That's what I would look at. And it's very Zionist-centered. Maybe some of it is moving away from the Ukraine issue. But it's also, here's another term that I found is bizarre. Because I ran for, as a conservative in the Republican Party, I was still a black sheep. But back then, it's 10 years ago, there was no such term as China hawk. That's something that's new now. They brought this up. They conjured it out of thin air. China hawk? You guys gave them everything. The Bush administration gave China the most favored trading status on December 11th, 2001. That's, by the way, that's the 90 days after 9/11, and that's the anniversary of when Hitler declared war on us in 1941. They gave China everything. The Trilateral Commission, born in 73, was all about moving assets and moving, our manufacturing ability and the wealth and technology away from the West and into the East, because that's been their plan. Because the Chinese would do a much better job at creating a totalitarian technocracy, in my opinion. I think that's what what that points to. But that China hawk, watch that. That's another thing. That's what his cabinet's full of, China hawks. Well, China really, again, they're an adversary in the same way that pretty much any other nation that has their own self-interest is an adversary, and they're not somebody you want to screw with. But we don't have to go to war with them. I mean, Napoleon said that China was a sleeping dragon, better let it slumber. There's wisdom in that. We just shouldn't do that. And the Taiwan thing. Do we forget that we already gave Taiwan pretty much away in 1979? Zbigniew Brzezinski signed the memo to Jimmy Carter saying we don't recognize Taipei. We don't have diplomatic relations with them. Now we're giving them billions of dollars. So there's a whole policy reversal. And if you're just a teleprompter reader, you don't know this. So I'm concerned with that. I'm concerned with that term China hawk, because that's new. Because Republicans have always been about, well, you got to do business with China. We got to do this and that. And then they're just, no, I'm a China hawk. I don't know what that means, but I definitely think.
Seems like theater.
It's very much theater. And I think it gives a boogeyman, like they did this to our currency. They did this to our economy. They did. It's the other, and it's not us.
I totally
The calls
agree.
are coming from inside the house. We don't have
100%.
We don't have external enemies that can bring us down. What did Lincoln say? If with all the armies in the world, with a Napoleon at the head, couldn't take a drink out of the Potomac without our say-so. Yeah. It's like we either survive all time or we die by suicide. I think that's really where we are, and we're just blaming others. So it's a mixed bag on the cabinet picks. Some of them I just think I shrug my shoulders and go, here we go again, the Soros guy. The Soros lackey that becomes the secretary.
And this time he has no excuses. Before he could be like, oh, he's new and he trusted people he shouldn't trust. Now he's been in the game for a while, and the media does not have the power to take him down like they used to. Like
Weird, isn't it? Did anybody find it just totally bizarre that nothing happened? Like November 5th rolls into November 6th and anticlimactic. People, I was scrolling through and like seeing what people's reactions would be. And there's nothing. It was almost because there's no funding to have outrage, in my opinion. This is where me and Billy Ray would disagree. Like, there wasn't any funding. The Soroses of the world, or the NGOs.
Billy thinks that it's natural.
He said there wouldn't be anything. And that it wouldn't be anything because the left was just, I guess at some point, it just kind of shrugged their shoulders and it was accepting it of some way. And I said, well, I felt like there was going to be because that's what history has shown me, whether it's pallets of bricks being delivered and here you go, like a builder riot or they fly people all over the country. It was a coordinated effort in 2020 to burn the country to the ground.
Of course.
I mean, look at what happened in Portland. And the DHS officers had to take their name tags off like we did in Afghanistan. So that you're pulling... because they were so afraid of getting doxxed by the lefty radicals that they were pulling. And by the way, the same time they were doing that and taking their name tags off because they were afraid of the lefties in Portland, the head of DHS said the number one threat to the United States was right-wing radicals.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're just cognitive dissonance, and that's what's happened.
But do you feel that like that plan failed? Like January 6th, and now those guys are in jail still. We should get them all out.
Yes.
I hope he pardons them.
That will be another quick sign that if he's doing the things we hope,
totally
that will
agree.
be. Yeah.
If he Ross Ulbricht, if he
Ulbricht,
gets
yeah.
Ulbricht, get him out.
Yes.
Get those guys out. Get
Julian Assange's name should be completely like this deal they did and screwed him over with. That should be completely.
It would buy
stricken.
even if he wasn't. It would buy even if he wasn't what we think he is. Those moves would buy him so much credibility.
So much.
He could get away with some stuff we don't like because we'll be like, well, at least he did that.
Even
right?
Snowden, dude. Even Snowden, who I have questions about. Even
I
if
have a lot of questions.
But
about
if he that would buy some goodwill also, I think.
Has to. Day one. He didn't give the $250 million that he raised in the Stop the Steal in the last part of 2020. $250 million. The first $8,000 that you gave to fight legally didn't go to attorneys. It went to the RNC and it went to Trump. And where's that money? It's $250
Oh, I
million.
didn't know that because that's exactly what BLM and Act Blue. I did not know that, dude. Really, Stop the Steal got all this money and nobody knows where it went.
Well, I mean, it went to the Trump campaign, but it didn't go to the J6ers. It didn't go to their families. It didn't go to the people that are political prisoners in this country. I've not seen any evidence that, I mean, we should not have. That's an absolute travesty of justice. And yes, some of them, went into the Capitol and they're, wasn't a great idea. I remember I was on the air that day and I said, this is
I'm so
agent
thankful my kids-
provocateurs.
yeah.
I'm in Branson, Missouri. I have nothing to do with this. And I didn't want anything to do with it at the end of 2020 either. Anyway, because we had a lockdown election. And that's just where my politics lie. It sucks because there's been as an entrepreneur, I had to really leave the table of a lot of audience and a lot of, because I don't believe the popular, belief system when it comes to the left-right paradigm. So I had to walk away from there. There's been a lot of people that made careers on it. I'm a long-term guy. I'm a long-term view. I want my analysis to matter.
I have a friend of mine. I'm not going to get into his name because he's not here to give his side, but he said you can't blow up going down the middle. And I go, you're totally right. I mean, I'm blessed to be, the show is where it is. We're all blessed on that. But I think it would be 10 times bigger if I went hard right. Like hard right?
For a while.
Yeah.
That's the thing, but it wouldn't be you.
Yeah,
and
that's
it
why
wouldn't
I
be
don't
me.
do it.
It wouldn't be hard left, hard right. It wouldn't be you. And this reminds me of something I was reading the other day. It just really stuck in my head. They were doing experiments in a deprivation tank, and they're having people concentrate on something. And they concentrate on being angry, and it would resonate a certain frequency. And then they concentrate on being love, and it would resonate even higher. But the highest frequency was authenticity, where they were just comfortable with their own thing. I think that's why this show's successful and you guys are successful. It's because it's so authentic. People can tell when they're listening to your voice or listening to the subject matter that you're engaged in it, you believe it, you're curious, and that's the future. Authenticity is the future, and whether or not we're caught in this weird place in history where, you can't blow up right now, but it's a slow climb.
Do you think anybody who's on the left or deep right, you think that's authentic, or do you think they're kind of are at that point like, oh, I got to lean on this because my fans are going left? Because the only other one is Rogan. The only other one in the middle that I would say is like kind of straight middle is kind of like Rogan.
Well, these progressives are all losing their subscribers because they kept pushing something that wasn't true. Okay. Even if, and like at the end of the day, we've learned with a lot of them that push this ideology. And you can see it on the right too. If you push this like super Christian view and you're not living that lifestyle,
Blows
right?
up in your face.
It blows up in your face. I mean, Tim Kennedy, who is that his name? Like, I love the guy. He's getting some stuff about his book right now. But I'm watching that. I'm watching this guy, Wes Whalens or something like that. He's like some alpha content guy who went to jail, and it's turning out that a lot of stuff that he allegedly had said wasn't real. It catches up with you. Like, dude, your best bet is to be as truthful as you can. You know, there's certain things like I don't like getting into the personal stuff of very personal parts of my life or like into my children. Like I don't want that out there because it's just the internet's full of assholes. We've already seen that, and there was only a couple months old. I already saw people being assholes. But I try to be as honest as I can because I feel like it's going to come out at some point, and you might as well own it. Like, I get so much shit on the internet, and I just run with it because I don't really care what they call me because it makes me laugh. But when you lie, you know, it's eventually all going to come out in the wash for sure. One thing I want to talk to you, I don't want to keep you much longer, but the this stuff, you know, everybody hates Q. I get Q. I get why they hate it. I think it's Operation Trust. I think they told us the truth because they wanted to corral us so we don't. Trust the plan and stuff like that, but they had to tell us the truth. That's the part of Operation Trust that nobody ever talks about. Yeah, it's a government, it's an intelligence operation, but they are telling you the truth because they know we're paranoid fucks, right? But the last line in there, the big thing I saw it change was, we'll save Israel for last. And it just seems like, and I said this about the Marxists and the Democrats, like all this Marxist stuff came out. And like, yeah, you're always going to have a Bernie Sanders that stays in there or Elizabeth Warren that are just entrenched in their county or wherever their constituents. But it seems like people have rejected a lot of the Marxist movement, the trans in the women's bathroom, trans in sports, all this sexual education to children. There seems to be a giant populist movement to say, let's get back to the norm. Mm-hmm. I think that you're going to see that with Zionism.
Yes.
That people are now going to wake up that Israel treats America, and if you go, Sam, who runs Israel? I think it's Bank of England. Israel treats America like America treats Latin America. Assassinate their leaders, okay? Corrupt their government, buy their politicians off. What are your whole thoughts on all that?
I think about Harry Truman and his friend Eddie Jacobson, who's lobbied him to recognize the state of Israel. And there's a famous line where Truman's considering it, he's trying to give him, you know, he's going to, the election of 48 is coming up. He wants to be supportive of this new state. He says they won't take yes for an answer, you know, because he keeps trying to support him, but they wanted more. It really, you know, the modern state of Israel and foreign policy, it is the thing you're not supposed to talk about. There was that book written in the 80s, None Dare Speak Out, by a congressman. I think it's on my bookshelf, and I talked to Don Jeffries about this. But if you're running for Congress, you got to go talk to AIPAC. If you're especially if you're on the Republican side. Yeah, and I've gone and talked and sat in the room with AIPAC. I don't know what they knew what to make about me as an America Firster. This is pre-Trump era. You know, I'm running as a Pat Buchanan, Ron Paul Republican. They didn't know what to make of me. I said, well, why don't you oppose foreign aid to countries that burn our flag? Because that's something that Rand Paul found out really quickly. He tried to get an amendment that says, well, hey, let's take care of this right now. If you burn the American flag or you have anti-American protests, you don't get any American foreign aid. And the entity that smacked that down was the Israeli lobby. It was AIPAC. And he said, why would you do that? I mean, you don't burn our flag. It's not about that. It's about the principle in general of foreign aid. So that was one of the things that came out, or our foreign policy. But I think you're right. I've noticed certain news outlets that would be like 5 years ago would have had pro-Israeli stories are now turning against it. It's like it's a 180. And this is a subtlety that I notice. And again, I've been on conservative talk radio. I'm leaving by letting all my contracts lapse because it's just a dead space at this point. It's the same kind of cacophony of regurgitation of dead ideas and things that that don't matter anymore. But that one proponent of that and component is Zionism. It's just pervasive in there. And I say on my show all the time, I'll get the anti-Semitic people, and I'm not good enough for them, and I'll get the Zionists, I'm not good enough for them, and I'm just like, you guys are the worst together.
Yeah.
You're just the worst. I mean, I'll just say stuff to the anti-Semite guys. I say, you're worse than the Zionists. I can't. You won't take yes for an answer. I tell you, I oppose this foreign nation having so much influence on my beloved republic and my country. Nobody asked me what my politics of Paraguay are, or Peru, or Bolivia. Nobody cares. But they want to know, do I support the modern state of Israel? Well, I support nations' right to exist if you follow if you're a humanitarian, if you're doing it the right way. And, of course, people have a right of self-determination, all this stuff. I support, I'm anti-war. I support peace. There's so many things that need to be unpacked with our history of the Balfour Declaration. You talk about
how deep does it go?
How deep
bro?
is that with the Lord Rothschild and releasing that through Lord Balfour, and was there a quid pro quo?
And I think Balfour was a Scottish Freemason, and there's that in there. And then you look at Freemasonry in the Bible with King James and how he was a level 33 Scottish Freemason. And you're like, how deep does it go? And that's all I ask is like, you're telling me these guys are the puppet master. I go, are there strings on the puppet master? And there usually is.
My favorite interview, I was live on air, and I used to follow Mark Levin every day on AM radio. And I had James Perloff on, one of my favorite people in the world. I hope you have him on. He wrote The Shadows of Power and Truth is a Lonely Warrior. He's an old school John Birch Society guy, and he's anti-Zionist and pro-peace, and I think he's half Jewish, but he talks about the Christian Zionism and everything, and we're ending the show live on air, and he's like, we had like 60 seconds left, and of course I'm talking to this very pro-Israel audience, and he says, oh, by the way, I just want to say that Israel's not God's plan, it's a Rothschild's Israel. It just levels the whole show, like 60-second outs going to the credits, and I just like, James, you are the man. I love this. I love this man.
Love that. And it just gets into it, like how deep does it the lie go? And you have people who are like, and they do great research, man. They do great research into the Jew world order.
But I think it's also a trap that
100%.
If you don't, because you got to think, who betrayed the Israeli people? It's Benjamin Netanyahu. He made him a living experiment with Pfizer. I mean, David Knight points this out, the great research that he's done on this. I mean, the amount of experimentation that's been done on the Israeli people by their leaders, and then putting them on a war footing for what? Why is there Operation Chaos all over the Middle East? Terrorism doesn't really threaten, they can't bring down the nation state of Israel. They have 300 atomic weapons, a first-rate intelligence, first-rate Air Force, first-rate Army. They never have to use it because we blow up stuff for them. I mean, I was in Iraq. I never saw an Israeli troop. That knocking off Saddam
I also wondered, to be honest with you, how they're really great with missiles, but it seems like when they go into territories, it doesn't go as well for them, and that's why they really love missiles. And when you get into their intelligence, like it seems like they get caught a lot, but they get, come on, get out of here.
Well, look at the blowback of the early 1980s, and I may get this wrong, John. I think it's 1983. It was Iraq was building a nuclear reactor. I think the French were helping. They were going to build nuclear power, and the Israelis just blew it up. It's called Osirak. They literally just took a unilateral action and blew up, flew over with American-made F-16s, I believe.
81.
81.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so it's 81.
40 years ago. Well, that's the date of this article. Israel attacked and partially destroyed Iraq's Osirak nuclear reactor in Tawaitha, using U.S.-supplied F-16s and F-15s to carry out the attack. 10 Iraqi soldiers and 1 French engineer were killed during the airstrike. Yeah, there's an image, too.
I mean, they have their own interests, and they drag us into things. That's like USS Liberty. Was that a false flag to drag us in to fight Egypt because they're unmarked
Lyndon B. Johnson let him get away with, set the precedence on that.
This image of, I think, is of the facility. They if this is partial destruction, by the way, I would like to see what total destruction.
By the way, that looks like a direct energy weapon in terms of weather modification, because look at the trees are all fine. Again, the trees are all fine, and this thing is just it's an explosion. Why are the trees fine?
The trees have water.
Trees
Sam.
are filled with water, and they're flexible though. Like concrete doesn't give. Concrete doesn't absorb energy; it just shatters.
Yeah, okay, Johnny, but let's get into the.
But we've seen nuclear blasts where the trees sway like this and bend.
Yeah,
and
but
then they
Johnny,
come back.
you're assuming that's a real nuclear blast.
Well, okay. Well, we've seen explosives near trees in tests. Either it's
Where?
a nuclear test in the footage. That's an explosive.
That nuke footage.
undeniably.
The
Wait,
one
the
that-
black and white one where they're
Yeah.
using models? That's not a real nuclear test, Johnny.
I mean, dude, people were there. Come on,
no,
give me a
dude,
break,
it's
bro.
not- it's not
you
real.
can say they weren't testing nukes, but they were testing some kind of explosive.
Johnny, when you go into paradise, you go, why was there a fire? Oh, there's a giant drought.
That's
I go,
a different thing.
Well,
That energy
then why
weapon
did
is
the trees not burn down? Because they have water in them. I'm like, well, either there's a drought or they got water in them. Which one is it?
Yeah, but we know these were
I'm
F-15s
just telling
and
you, Johnny,
F-16s.
that looks a lot like what we're talking about, where trees not just survive, have full green leaves still on them.
Okay. I mean,
There's
it
a giant explosion.
40 years
There's a
ago.
giant explosion. I'm sorry. Is this it today?
No, this is 40 years ago. Is what I'm saying.
How long ago?
This image, right, was 81.
Yeah, it's 81.
What does that have to do with why
Well,
the
I'm saying
trees?
you're saying they had lasers coming out of the sky in 81
Yeah, I think they've had that for. They've been doing weather manipulation forever.
since the Civil War. Yeah, sure, why not? What are we talking
Johnny,
about?
we've literally had guests on talking about weather manipulation since the like 1700s.
Yeah, Lincoln was sending all these thunderstorms
You never
down to
know,
Robert E.
bro.
Lee.
You never know, dude. You just never know. How about the crazy thing that the head of the IDF was in Dallas on the day JFK got
That's crazy,
assassination? That just came out. Dude, it just more and more.
He didn't want nuclear proliferation, period. And then the Israelis wanted it. That's U.S. made enriched uranium that made the bombs.
If the average person had any clue how the Nazis and the fucking Zionists scissored each other for history, they just scissored. Sorry, your sister's here, but you know that. Like, I feel very bad doing that, but But the truth is, like they're hand in hand, dude. I mean, hand in hand.
Well, you talked about the other day on your podcast about Hitler's origins as a Rothschild. Is it illegitimate?
You gotta tell me who his biological grandfather is. They can't. They can't tell you. So it's like, so you can't rule it out.
It's crazy.
You can't rule it out.
Most famous guy in history, and you can't give me his genealogy.
Yeah,
like, back
who
to
his grandpa
grandparents?
was.
It's crazy.
You can just go to his grandma, and that's where it ends.
How dumb do they think we
just,
are?
he should just do the DNA ancestry.
Not in Israel. They won't let you.
Where's his body?
Where is his?
That's why they can't get his DNA. They don't have his body.
No, I
No,
think they
I think that it just people have no clue to the level of deceit
yeah.
that we have been. They've taken advantage of loving people who just want to follow the leader, raise their kids in a nice house with 2 cars, have them go to college, and just support their nation like it's their team. And there's these super progressives who think being a nationalist, not in the sense of Nazis, but in the sense of loving your country, that is not natural. There's not a country on the planet where people aren't proud to be from their country. Only in America. Only in America is that it, dude. When a British fighter fights here, all of Britain flies here and they sing their songs and it's gorgeous. It's beautiful to see. Not here.
Yeah, it's called continuity of culture. And then you look, India 50 years from now will be India, Mexico will be Mexico, Japan will be Japan, Russia will be, what the hell will we be? We're told that we're not supposed to have continuity of culture. We're not supposed to have language, borders, culture, all that.
I
The
think
Bible
that's
called
changing.
nation, tribe, and tongue.
I think it's changing. I think they woke up and they're seeing what's happening and how bad it got. And I think people are waking up to it, and like the notion of not being proud to be an American. Listen, when they're like, I thought 100 people dead, 5 Americans. I don't find American deaths more important than other human beings, that humanity. And when it comes to business and sports, I love being American. I'm proud to be here. I want to thrive. When I go to the middle of Michigan and it's not doing well, that breaks my heart, because there's no reason in this country that Michigan shouldn't be thriving. That in the middle of Oklahoma shouldn't be thriving. In the middle of Ohio shouldn't be thriving. They should all be thriving. We're a rich country. There should be enough for everybody. We shouldn't be allowing this small group of people, to control the message, which is rich kids telling middle-class kids that poor kids are the problem. It doesn't need to be. And I think people are waking up to that. I think people shows like yours, ours, and we influence bigger shows. We do the dangerous, and we allow them to do the safe dangerous that slowly moves into the dangerous. Because if we talk about this enough, it's no longer dangerous.
That's right.
And I think I think people are going to start really waking up when they start trying to pass these anti-Semitism laws, and they're seeing people locked up for you can light up an American flag, and part of me is like, that's under the First Amendment, even though I don't like it.
I agree.
It's under the First Amendment. You can light up an American flag, but you can't criticize Israel? Get the fuck out of here.
Crazy.
And dude, every time I was on Roseanne, and like I'm smitten with her. Like I got it wrong. When she showed up, I'm like, that's a weird rise. But I realized I was totally off about her. She's a sage. She's a shaman. She's the perfect combination of zero fucks and well researched. And she's at a place where you can't, she's where she did everything she wanted to do. Now she's just John Wick in it. You know what I'm saying? She's just going around shooting everybody, and I'm loving it, right? And I sat down with her, so I didn't want to bring up the Zionism because when I was on with Jimmy Dore, Jimmy, both of us love her, so we didn't want to press her because she kept yelling about Hamas. So I got a lot of shit for that. So when I go on her show, it's my first time on her show. I'm not the guy to go in there and burn everything down. That's not me. My parents raised me right. You go in somewhere, someone is inviting you into their home, onto their show. You show them respect. You only go as far as they want to go. So, but I mentioned the word Zionism, which she goes, that's Jewish. And I go, well, and then we got into it. And she gets it. She goes, there's a percent. Even God told Abraham, you can't save these particular Jews. They've made a decision. They've taken the cash and prizes. That's not who you're there to save. And to me, that's a giant who is it couldn't be proud to be Jewish, Roseanne Barr. Saying that's a big win for everybody. That's who's going to have to save us, right? It's like I always say, the people who are going to say black people are going to be black conservatives. Stepping in there aren't afraid to be called the names, to call motherfuckers out. Yeah, and you see it happening right now. Across the board, more people getting braver and braver, calling out this hood behavior. It's not going to be me and you. They're going to look at us and just shut down. But it's one of them who calls it out, going, here's this life I'm living, and it's completely opposite of what you're doing, and that fucking low vibrational shit, it's going to be the same thing. When these fucking anti-Zionist Jews start stepping out, and at the basis of Judaism, at the basis of all Abrahamic religions, is a Zionist prophecy. But I even get into how much of this is manipulated, how much of this is old Zoroastrianism, old Babylonians manipulating the story to get what they want. So I listen, for those who are Christian, I'm not being blasphemous. I'm just asking questions. And again, you can ask me anything. I'm going to tell you the truth. Okay? If you think it's the truth, you shouldn't be afraid of people asking questions.
I think there's a huge difference between interpreting prophecy and trying to engineer it, which is what they're doing. When you're talking about whether it's Christian Zionism and those who believe in the military-industrial complex that aren't Jewish. By the way, I mean, they're the people that aren't Jewish. They just believe in that flow of history, rebuilding the Third Temple, all of that centered around Zionism because of their beliefs. They're inherent. When I was a kid, it's like the end of the world industrial complex. It's something I came up with when I was like 18, 19 years old. I'm like, it's just, you hear that living in the South, out of East Texas, east of Dallas is where I grew up. So I hear this all the time, and it's just ad nauseum. And I rejected it when I got back from my third foreign war. I just rejected it. And so I practice a different type of Christianity. I think that there was a new covenant. If I'm thinking of Israel, I'm thinking of that is the chosen people are the people that follow Jesus. That's my opinion, and that's that's where my faith comes from. I'm not afraid to say that. I don't think it's a race. I don't think it. And of course, you can get into the whole Khazarian lineage of non-Abrahamic. You can get all into that, and it's not about race. It's about, are you for peace? Are you trying to promote a better world? What are your motives? I mean, we have to have a better conversation. The conversations that we've had in the last many decades have not gotten us very far. But you're starting to see a lot of things be pulled back. And like I said, we were talking. There's a shift. There's a bend in the river that's happening right now. And I think the danger is, you see a lot of people that take it way too far, and it's almost like it's the same thing with Q. You had great research on the Federal Reserve or the JFK assassination or child trafficking and all this stuff, right? And then they'd say, oh, and by the way, JFK Jr.'s alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it just, that's a limited hangout. That's the way that they destroy 90% of the good with something that's just totally, batshit. And that's what they do. You got to watch.
That's how they keep out the normies.
And that's how and that's why there's so extremes. It's Aristotle, the Aristotelian golden mean, right down the middle, and that's where we got to be. If you got to do your research, you have to go and find things for yourselves, and be willing to, have what did Jim Mars say? I love Jim Mars. I miss him. He died in 2017. I've learned so much from him. Is make sure that your mind works best. It's like a parachute. It works best when it's open. So I try to keep that one.
I do too, dude. Keep your head on a swivel, okay, and be open to new data and grow. And what I believe today, I might not. So I was going to write a book, right? I might not. What I believe today, I might not believe tomorrow. I was going to write a book on my spiritual growth, and I go, well, what if I don't believe this in a year?
Yeah.
So I stopped it. I go, I'm evolving from this kind of thought I had earlier to, and now I've even evolved even more. To being open-minded to that there's other ways of seeing stuff. And I think that's super important. Tony, it's always a pleasure to have you on. Chop it up. These are my favorite episodes where we can just go over everything. One more time, why don't you pitch us on the Wolf Pack real quick?
Well, this is a unique program. We inverted the entire marketplace of precious metals. So you need to go check out samtripoli.gold. If you think you can't afford precious metals, you're wrong, because you can. You can go to Wolfpack, and you can select memberships as low as $50 for adults. And then we have Wolf Cub. It's $35 for kids. You get all sorts of great products. And because we buy in bulk, we have close to 1,400 members across the country. Again, most people, they upgrade, they don't cancel, they stick with us because we can save you money, based off of what you would pay if you went and tried to buy the same things yourself. It's variety, and it's for the everyday person, and you can buy an unlimited amount from me. So we still do the big transactions, but I made this for the people. This is something I want to do, something different. The big companies, they don't care if you got $500. They don't care if you got $50. They're dealing with a different clientele. It's not my business model. So go check out Wolfpack. We're really proud of it.
I really, 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 really want to get into that Zen Wolf Pack. That's my goal. That when Daddy grows up, that's what he wants to do.
And we're about soon, very soon, because we made this. We'll have another tab on there, and you can use your crypto. You can use your Bitcoin, no fee. We'll be the first no-fee broker from Bitcoin to precious metals in America.
It's funny because when I do gain some crypto, I don't know kind of what to do with it because I don't want to put it back into money. But I also feel like it's going to go down, so it's cool that I'm going to be able to move it into
metals,
and move it into gold, leave it there, have it sit there.
I love Bitcoin. I've been in Bitcoin space since 2016. I bought some of the first Bitcoin ATMs. I learned enough to be dangerous. I wish I'd have saved the Bitcoin. I'd be done right now, but that's fine. I like what I do. But I learned a lot. And again, Bitcoin is wonderful, but it has something that again, it's very definable. It's finite. You know how many Bitcoin there ever will be. Gold and silver aren't like that, even though they are finite. There's more fines. Like they don't mine. The only continent we don't mine gold in right now, supposedly, is Antarctica. Right? We don't mine it there. Well, there's probably a whole bunch of reasons, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the only reason that, again, we don't know what's there and other deposits in the ocean. So you don't know the exact amount of gold. It's a very finite, precious thing. Like was 151,000 tons of gold that have ever been mined in the history of ever, and more steel is poured in 1 hour on this earth than all of that. So it's not a lot of gold that's around. But gold and silver exist in this dimension. They exist in the real world, and you can hold them in your hand without counterparty risk. So don't get me wrong. And this is a debate that's going on in the crypto sphere that I find just it's nauseating, guys. We just got to be against fiat and the fiat system. Whether you like Bitcoin, I love Bitcoin too, and I like crypto, and I like that innovation, and I like gold and silver. That's the future. The future is the outside of that 1971 experiment that's coming to an end. It's not tomorrow. I'm not an alarmist, but it's coming to an end. You can hold gold and silver in your hand, and that's the difference between something that Bitcoin can't do that. I love Bitcoin. It just can't do that. It does a lot of things better than gold and silver, but again, holding it in gold and silver, actually, that's cash to me. That's liquid. If I've got a gold coin like the one I wear on my neck here, I've got a 10th ounce gold Krugerrand. That's 1/10 of an ounce of gold, and that's liquid. If I want to cut it out of this thing, or I want to take it to a place that's a gold and silver exchange, I can exchange that right now for what it's trading for. So to me, that's liquid.
Is there any crypto you're invested or that we should keep an eye out that you've heard about?
What's your thoughts on XRP?
I like XRP, the technology, and I've owned some. Used to be called Ripple, I've owned some. I own a little bit in my wallet, but I tell you where I've been since I appeared on the show back in April. I started buying Bitcoin every single day at the same time, and then I increased it again in July after I saw Trump speak at the Nashville conference, and that's paid off. My company buys it every single day it's on the balance sheet as inventory. There's the Copy My Crypto guy. I'm a member of that too. You should watch he advertises on your show. It's just smart stuff. James, I watch his trades.
We love James.
Yes, I watch his trades, and there's going to be fortunes made in the crypto space.
I agree.
I'm very optimistic about that, but I haven't played much other than I got into Bitcoin. Oh, gosh, guys, I was buying Bitcoins $400.
See, that's how I feel about XRP
But
right
I didn't
now.
keep it, so I'm not a genius. Just for I should have said, "Oh, this is going to the moon," and I just put it through my machines. I was a novice. I didn't know. I just started trying to learn the retail side of it. But you live and learn, and I'm just glad I learned about Bitcoin that early on, and so I'm so comfortable. Like I've got a wallet on my phone. It's my wallet. I have the keys. Nobody else does. And I'm not afraid. Like you got that much money sitting in your phone.
It's scary.
It's
scary, dude.
When you lose your,
It's scary.
So I was doing that Matan. Is that his name? That Matan kids.
Yeah.
And they took my phone. I'm like, okay, you got my crypto. Give me back my phone.
Yeah.
Give me back. I almost beat the shit out of everybody there.
You gotta get a cold wallet. Yeah.
My friend was running. I go, give me my fucking phone.
Yeah, you definitely need cold storage. But the other way to defeat that is, if you want to use, I like Exodus. Exodus is
That's
a good
one of
wallet.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be on a wallet that's on an exchange, and you can buy on an exchange, and then soon you'll just be able to call me. I mean, we're getting real close to where you can just text, call, email us, and we'll put together a trade for you at a reasonable price. And we'll do something very similar like on Wolfpack, where if you want to buy $50 worth of Bitcoin a month, we'll set you up on auto.
I love that. That's how you should do it. So, Andy here, we're trying to ensure here real quick. So this just came out from the Oversight Committee House. Final report, COVID selection concludes 2-year investigation. Issues 500 plus page final report on the lessons learned and the path forward. So we're not obviously going to go into, I just got this all 500 pages. But this is a breakdown of COVID. This is what I think is a dangerous statement to make, because I feel like this is the 9/11 Commission, sending us in a certain direction. Okay. COVID-19 most likely emerged from the laboratory in Wuhan, China. I have major problems with that statement. 5 strong arguments in favor of the lab leak theory. Number 1, virus possesses biological characteristics not found in nature. So I like that statement because that opens up to that there's a lot more going on to that. Data shows that all COVID-19 cases stem from a single introduction into humans. This runs contrary to the previous pandemics where there were multiple spillover events. That's an interesting statement. Wuhan is home to China's foremost SARS-related research lab, which has a history of conducting gain-of-function research at inadequate biosafety levels. Wuhan Institute of Virology researchers were sick with COVID-like virus in the fall of 2019, months before COVID-19 was discovered at a wet market. By nearly all measures of science, there was evidence of a natural origin that would have already surfaced. Thoughts on that?
Unpopular opinion, but I don't care if it came from a meteorite. The issue that I have is the response to it.
Yes.
The issue, the smashing of civil liberties, the lockdowns, the coordinated lockstep, Rockefeller lockstep. And I think you look at the timeline. I covered a story going into the end of 2020. Phil Sardi was a guy that wrote for Lou Rockwell, and I went on InfoWars and I said, does anybody notice that the actual total deaths in the U.S. are going to be on par to what they were in 2019? It was a very uncovered story, but you know what changed? And then all the insurance companies, speaking of insurance companies, and One America, the CEO of One America Life Insurance says, hey, we've had a 200-year spike event in deaths. And it was introduced between the beginning of 2021 and the fall of 2021. Now, what was going on then? It wasn't COVID was the March of 2020. You know, again, that's if you want to put that into the calculations. But it was the jab. It was the lockdowns. It was the spike in suicides. It was all the things that correlate around that. So I do applaud. I like the fact that we can. I'm not just completely shitting on the lab leak theory or anything else, but it's the response to because it makes it scarier.
No, I get it.
It's like, oh well, it was level 4 and we had to do something. No, the issue is liberty should prevail in all of those scenarios. In order to preserve it, I think that's where we lost what it meant to be an American. We lost everything. We're slowly regaining it. Hopefully, and that's my hope. Is we took so much out of us to go through that, and we're just still not.
Well, it's still not the same. It's still not the same. It's just like nothing. I mean, people don't like leaving their houses anymore. I mean, I've seen it everywhere. Like people are afraid to leave their house. They're not socializing like they used to. It's just really
What's
sad.
up with the Uber drivers out here wearing masks, man?
Still, every day.
What is happening?
Oh, you kind of have to as an Uber driver because you're gonna every now and then you're gonna get the Karen who's like, you don't have your mask on, and they give you 2 stars on your written and just
they
want to
live like that. They want to live.
Absolutely.
People love that. They just love it, and they're probably ugly too. So they're probably ugly people, and they don't want. But again, show me the data where you isolated the virus. If you show me that, I'll buy into it. Show me where you isolated HIV. I'll buy into it. The guy who created the test said they never. Yeah,
Terry Mullis
said they never isolated HIV, and then he dies right before COVID.
Oh, conveniently.
Yeah, how's that work out? So again, I think this is the 9/11 Commission and the Warren report. Mm-hmm. They are manufacturing the narrative. Or they're reinforcing the narrative.
Yes. That's where you get the China hawk stuff too. Watch out for it's the China virus.
Yeah.
Right. All that stuff. It comes back. It's just reshuffling the blame, and then creating an outward. It's the them. It's the other, and it's not us, and it's not those who are locking us down.
Because if it was China, wouldn't as a world, wouldn't you somehow punish them? Hey, you guys owe us a little bit because you guys did this and you came out of your country.
Well, yeah.
In a way, if it was,
point. Yeah. They're like, hey, man, we got to go after you.
But it's like wink, wink, whatever that meant.
But China does it. Like all these oligarchies help each other. Mm-hmm. They help each other because they use the opposite side as the boogeyman to rile up their population behind the leaders. Oh, these, China, they're like, oh, round eye coming, and then we're over there like, oh, dude, they're making viruses. Russia uses us as much as we use them. Putin uses us as much as we use them. Now, he could have a way better reason. Like, they are launching missiles, and he's showing great restraint right now. And we may someday look back and go, he's the reason we don't have World War III. Because if he goes into it, then that brings China and Iran in because they all have deals. So
we got real lucky with, Mikhail Gorbachev. At the end of the Soviet Union. He could have just pulled the temple down on everybody, and he did, and he walked away. They gave up the ghost on Christmas. 1991, walked away, broke into 16 pieces. And we were promising them, if you walk away and bring your armies into the natural borders of Russia and let this thing go, that we won't expand NATO. We expanded NATO in their face. That's what we did.
Again, if you study NATO, it's Nazis, dude, at the end of the day. Tony, great job. Thank you so much. This has been a great episode. Let's break it down. What'd you guys think?
I'm excited to invest my crypto into some gold.
All right,
That's
Johnny,
it.
what'd you think?
Yeah, that's. I mean, I don't want it to seem like we're promoting but it's great. That's a great idea. I'm surprised nobody's doing that. It's going to be a great success for him because I could see people wanting the same kind of people that Bitcoin appeals to are the people who would, want to hold some gold, I think.
For sure, guys. So go to the website. I got Tampa Bay this weekend, Cancun next week. Yeah, so go to samtripoli.com. Check out my special. Check out all my premium content. Been cooking with real gas, guys. And guys, I know a lot of you guys might not be listening right now, but if you're following me on Rockfin, please get off of Rockfin if you're just there for me. And go to samtripoli.com. I'm having some issues over there. I'm not happy about it. So please go to samtripoli.com and follow my premium content because I'm putting up fire there all the time. It is crazy. Lauren Chen is gone since that Russian stuff taking money from RT News. You've heard nothing from her.
It's funny. Tim Pool's still out there, though, denying it vociferously.
It's so crazy. Go $8, get you nothing but bangers. Cash Daddy's on fire. How many Cash Daddies we got? Look at that, dude. My goal is to get us to 1,000 members. Yeah. So go check that out. Johnny, how's he been doing?
Oh, yeah. He had some huge trades last week, how he did. I'm more interested in someone getting into the making whoopee tier this year.
I just one person, for the love of God, pay for us to watch you make love.
You should do a Christmas.
Please.
You should do like a Christmas discount, like 800.
Yeah, we'll do 800. I'd do that. Would you do that, Sam? Would you take a little discount?
I would do it for $20.
We'll take that out of Sam's end, but it's
$20.
So seven.
Just come down. I'll watch you go to Pound Town. I'll give you some tips after I clean up aisle 5, and we'll go from there.
Wait. So you're doing the cleanup for them too?
No, I'm cleaning myself up.
Oh.
No, because that's how it's going. Go to T-shirts, guys. Go to T-shirts real quick. Sam Tripoli T-shirts.
No one's ever going to do it if they know you're just jerking off over there. You're supposed to be giving tips, not masturbating.
Okay, I focus best when I do that. Go up. Go to that one. Christmas T-shirts are there. We love that. We love that. Look at me with the shrooms.
That's you?
Yeah, that's supposed to be me. Look at the glasses, Johnny.
Oh, I see glasses, yeah.
And then go back. And go up.
Ooh,
There we go.
one.
That one. So he printed them out. I'm going to be giving those away. I sold them at
That's cool.
At Tampa.
That's a really
These
good shirt.
shirts are fire. The Eskimo Brothers shirt, fire. Grab them now.
What about your secret T-shirt you give out on shows? Is that still going down?
We're giving away that. We'll see how that sells. Chaos Twins is fire. Chaos Twins are fire, dude. Grab your issue now. Once we get more of the artwork done, and they're doing it right now, I will be showing you a little video of what's coming up. Very excited about it.
When do you think those might release? When do you?
I got to ask them. It should be soon. Soon.
I'm excited for that too.
Yeah, me too. Go down. Guys, grab these affiliates while you can. Dan's like, why do you got so many affiliates? I'm like, because I love them all. Obviously, Wise Wolf, Gold and Silver. Rife Technologies. We'll see how long that lasts. He says he might be getting out of business, so grab your technology while you can. Cure Hydrogen Brown Gas. Get your hydrogen quick, easy, simple. Harley Ray, we love them. We love their website. If you're looking for crystals, candles, sage, grab them now. Dude, today during the first show we recorded, that's right, Chemical Free Body. It is my favorite supplements. Makes me feel so alive. Go there. Click on dude, I'm taking the alpha. Dude, everything is fire, bro. Everything is fire. It's all fire. I'm taking the weightless. I'm doing it, dude. I'm feeling good about myself. Then go down to EMF Rocks. If you're looking for to fight that dirty electricity, Prometheus, and then finally Prometheus if you're looking for a website. And then if you want to be smart like Xavier Guerrero, He is just doing nothing but microdosing. So go check it out. You can go there. Our good friends at Brain Supreme are crushing it, and you use our promo code, you can get 15% off. So get in it to win it. Anything else, guys?
Hit that like button, subscribe, please. Thank you.
Johnny.
Check out the new Broken Simulation. It's out there. Find me on Twitter at Johnny Woodard, please.
All right, enjoy these highlights.
Here's a clip from the latest Broken Sim. I just want to say a very, very fond farewell to Ellen DeGeneres and Portia de Rossi. They have left the country because Trump was elected. They have moved to England. They're in the Cotswolds in the south of England. I just want to say we will miss you, Ellen. Please,
We're going to miss you.
Never fucking fly away from here in this dark old hotel room.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with videos coming out and tweets he put out kissing Sean Combs, or when she brings out all those special needs kids and they're like, "Oh, we got the wrong day. Look who's here, P Diddy," and he comes out like we're about to go, like a fat person at all you can eat buffet, just super excited, smiling about everything he's about to get his groove on with. I mean, have you seen that video?
Yes, I have. Yeah, I'm trying to find it right here.
It's so creepy. You don't think that has anything to do with it?
Here it is. Okay, hold on.
I love Ellen.
Dude, certainly
I'm
could be.
leaving. Don't let the door. Dude, can I help you pack?
Yeah. Seriously though, I will say. Can I just say, props to her, because you hear that all the time. Like, I'm leaving the country. Nobody ever actually does it. So some credit is due to her.
I mean, like, dude, she did. Sorry, Johnny, I keep cutting you
Recently, a
off.
video went viral.
This is it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
With the Jeffrey Epstein style background, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, wait. What's he doing in the car? I didn't see this part.
Look at this.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Diddy.
Oh, he must be on the set, and they're just
he's trying to act like, oh man.
He's got a perfect video signal, but they're pretending he's on his cell phone on Zoom.
I can't be there with y'all today. I'm stuck in Miami. But
by the way, do any children give a rip about P Diddy? You know what I mean? Like what 12-year-olds are like? Oh, it's P Diddy. Oh,
yeah. Great hands, 100%. And I promise that we're going to be dancing together one day soon. Love you guys. Peace.
Those kids are like,
half of them look like they've been given 6 months. Look at that.
That was very sweet. He's
not much longer.
But I have a gift for you. So we're going to take a break, and we come back. I'm going to give you a little something. We'll be back. Now, you know that Diddy is going to see this at some point. So do you want to talk to him? Do you want to tell him something?
Thank you for posting the video and sharing it. And we're all bad boys for life.
That's right.
Oh, dude, they promoted
that's
movie.
totally natural.
Dude, wait, hold on. They worked in a promotion for his movie. This sick children bit.
Yeah,
these are kids that have terminal disease.
There's one thing cancer kids want as their time is short is to be a bad boy for life.
To promote his stupid movie.
By the way, my heart goes out to whoever's kids these are.
Absolutely.
My heart goes out to you. That isn't easy. This is more about us not liking P. Diddy than us making fun of your children's
we're not making fun of your kids at all. Yeah, these are
at
kids.
all.
Yeah.
What is the date? What is the date today? I completely, Thursday. Thursday.
That's not a date.
Wrong,
that's a day.
I had the dates wrong all this time. Diddy, come on out.
He's actually there. Oh my God. It's Diddy. Look at him.
Yeah, look at this. Oh, yeah. You and you.
Oh, it's so weird, dude.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like that.
Okay, you're a little too big. Get out of here. All right, the little one. Give me the little one. Okay, are you a teacher or are you a parent? Get out of here. Yeah, give me the little ones. Yeah.
Those kids have no idea who that is.
They have no idea. It's like, why don't you come out here? Jeffrey Dahmer.
The weird
Why don't you come out here? Jimmy Savile. Come on out, Jimmy Savile.
Most kids only recognize P. Diddy from his penis, to be fair.
Oh, shit. One kid's got one arm. Ellen can't dance.
Oh, God. Horrible.
Yeah, man. Yeah, y'all. Yeah.
Come on, I'm Jeffrey Epstein in blackface. Come on.
Wait. Hey, Sam, what date is this?
It's Thursday.
Is it? Wait. Harvey Weinstein's here. Oh, my God.
Harvey,
I can't believe
out.
it. Come on out, Harvey, and hug these little children.
Clamp vagina dick. Come on out.
If you'd like to hear the rest of this episode, subscribe to Broken Simulation in your podcasting app or check us out at youtube.com/Sam Tripoli.
We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Tinfoil hat.